And the craziness continues to happen on this Sunday, 2 Sundays before American Thanksgiving. Folks, you do not know what the last period of time has been like, but welcome all here, quarter after the hour after 6 on the East Coast of the USA. Hey, welcome. We're going to celebrate a little bit of early Thanksgiving today. Have fun, have a lot of fun talking about food and stuff like that, folks. You will not understand the craziness, but we can have laughs about it. So, if dear God, we do not want the Terminators, Rise of the Machines happening. As everybody races more to technology, I fight the powers as much as I can. My wife actually asked me one time, "How do you function at work?" I said, "I got an IT department." But anyway, and one coworker of mine really hates it when I tell him I want it in paper. But I digress. Speaking of paper, we're talking about an author, great author guest today, but today we're not talking about the book. We are talking about Thanksgiving. Specifically, we're going to talk about what we like, tradition stuff. We're going to talk about Canadian Thanksgiving as well as that Canadian Thanksgiving that is about to occur a week from Thursday here in the U.S. But let me not digress any further. Let me bring you this guest. It's been a while since we've been together. We actually had the pleasure to meet in real life under a sad situation, but we got to meet. It was always good to see this person. Wonderful friend of the channel, and anytime we talk food, it goes at least 3 hours long. We don't know tonight, but hey, it's always been fun. When I think of food and talk, this is one of the people I come to. It's the great RM Briggs. Hello, Raquel.
Hello. And I like how you tried to take the bullet for me there. Everyone, I have to apologize. I'm the reason why we're late. To be 100% honest with you, even though it's quite embarrassing, I have not touched StreamYard or gone near it since Clobby passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tried to log in tonight, it started putting me through all of these different motions to try and verify who I was. And then at one point, it basically said that I had tried to log in too many different ways and that it was going to lock me out permanently, in which case I almost had a meltdown. But I'm very happy to be here. I'm so excited to be invited here and to visit with all of you. But this entire debacle, the lateness, is due to me. It's me.
It's okay. I helped add to it with that, not having myself up when we went live. It was a blank screen. But everybody got to look at the wonderful Thanksgiving scenery for about half a second. And I'm surprised the business has not told me about the football up in the upper right corner. Sorry, business. But hey, speaking of that, I think the Grey Cup's up there in Canada today. I actually got into some Canadian football this year, which was a lot of fun this year, I would say.
Yeah.
But hey, as a friend of mine, this Canadian also says, "You Americans have screwed up football. Y'all don't know how to play it right." He's very proud of Canada and the football. Yeah, it's always good. You're not. I mean, you didn't have much experience with sports, though, do you?
No, not. I'm not a big sports fan. I like sort of alternative sports. I was never really my sport is reading books. That's my sport.
There you go. Well, I will say, because when we talk about America, the American Thanksgiving, they go hand in hand with Thanksgiving. But let's say hello to the chat, because I know when I first announced this, there was a great. You got a great response. You'll recognize some good old names out here. But hey, leading off, batting first is the great Max Redstone.
Hey, Maximum Redstone.
Great to see you, sir. How are you today, Max? Good to see you. And Snorapoopus Cuber. Hello, humans and other critters.
Hello, hello.
Yes. All right. So, Max says we're hunting wabbits. So,
Ooh.
Yay. Dave C is
here.
Rascally
wabbits?
Probably.
Yay!
Yes, feel free. Go back to your old announcing stuff and all. I love when you scream, "Dave!" and Maximum Redstone. I was like, I can't do it like you did, but that's all good. And the Mrs. here. Yes, thank you, Mrs., for helping cover.
Mrs. Deadman! The queen of the Deadman clan!
Yes, that she is. That she is. Oh, by the way, yeah, I dropped down to 6:59. I did a Fortnite stream a few minutes later. It was at 6:16. 6:59 is, I don't know. It's crazy days in YouTube land, I say. And JT Kirk is here.
Oh, nice. JT He is K-Rock.
Yes, and he also great football hangout with me on Saturday nights. Always great to have the captain on board. So let's see who else we got. Infinity, TLW,
Captain
TWL.
Infinity.
Yes,
I haven't heard from you in forever. I hope you are well, fine sir.
yes. We got great Claude Sailing here.
Hey, Claude, good to see you. Oh,
Yep.
Max, that's a very nice thing to say, sweetheart. I love you very much. Thank you, Max.
And we got Dominique Palmieri with us tonight.
Good
Dominique,
evening.
good evening. How are you tonight? Oh, yeah, Poopy. Reverse the Poopy. All right. You got to say.
Gwagnar! I don't even know if I can say Gwagnar's name because I have a horrible flu. Should I try?
Go for it. Go for it.
Gwagnar!
There you go. Always great. It's like that. You always think of Gwagnar with you and Maximum Redstone.
Yes.
So, absolutely. And Snorter Poops is climbing back into the attic. Good to see you, though. Let's see. Wes Kegels here. Hey. And
Wes!
he says, hey, Raquel.
It's so good to see you.
Yes, he's the king of New Jersey. We love joking about the state of New Jersey all the time. So,
he's a very, very sweet man.
He's
true
actually-
gentleman. I love that guy.
He's actually started streaming a bit lately. So,
Yeah, I saw that. I think
It's really
that's
good.
terrific.
Yeah, I was going to have him on one night, but it's been crazy around here, and I had to cancel a stream one night. But yes, always West Kegel. We're always shouting out about Florida and New Jersey to each other. And so, this is what Max is demanding representation for the non-turkey crowd. Go lamb, ham, and prime rib. Ooh.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to feel dejected here this evening because we will talk about ham. We will talk about lamb. We will talk about prime rib. We're just going to talk all things Thanksgiving and what goes into the meal, what doesn't go into the meal, and you know how Thanksgiving came to be. Who had the first Thanksgiving? So Max, stick around.
Absolutely. Oh, Infinity, yes. StreamYards will continue to take the money. Actually, it just went up. The price doubled on us. But the missus did try to find something other than alternative that was cheaper because we like the missus, is first class with their production value and all that stuff. And the free one is just too limiting. And she looked at other ones that were cheaper, but we're paying the $45 a month. So, hey, folks, if you want to support us, support the missus on our Ko-Fi account. Shameless plug for the missus. By the way, folks, if you're not subscribed to the missus, make sure you guys subscribe to her channel, please. Monday to Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern for her daily doses of positivity. So we got Miskatonic Madman here with us tonight. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
And Atwood is here. Hey, Atwood, how are you tonight?
Good evening.
Wait. Wes Kegel, I have Canadian friends that will disagree with us. They say that we got it wrong with the positioning of the goalpost and everything else. So.
Rod's here. Rod just walked in the door. Rod Thunderheart.
Rod Thunderheart, yes. Oh, this is what you were responding to earlier with Max Redstone. Absolutely. Sorry. I'm a little behind in here too.
No, it's okay. It's just after many years of hanging out with Clobby in the big busy chat and my time in radio. I speed read through that live chat. I try to keep up with everyone and what they're thinking about and what they're talking about, right? So
exactly.
You're not behind. I'm just ahead. Sorry about that.
There you go. You know what's so funny of other people I've noticed, like even when I'm up to it, they get it before me because you see it on the YouTube before you see it in the StreamYard too. But
yeah, that's true.
All right, we've said hello to everybody. We're current and everything else. So that, what does Thanksgiving, the holiday, mean to you? Because you look to me on Twitter, looked like it was really passionate for you because you tweeted out food pictures and things like that. You really seem really excited for Thanksgiving. So, what does it mean? Before we talk about America and how it came to be with Canada, what is Thanksgiving to you?
Well, I think that why I'm so passionate about Thanksgiving is the fact that the Thanksgiving in Canada is so different. Its basis is Well, basically, the very first Thanksgiving was giving thanks that you were alive. It had nothing to do with, arriving in the new
Mm-hmm.
world or meeting this person or that person or discovering something. It had nothing to do with that. It was just actually being happy to be alive. And
Mm-hmm.
so I look at Thanksgiving as a time where we all sit down at a table together with the people who we love,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe we invite people who don't have big families and don't have places to go, and we get together and we show that we're grateful for everything that we have. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so many times in society, people are trying to keep up with the Joneses, and they're very worried about the next thing that they need to do, and bills are really crazy, and there's just a lot to life, work and laundry and kids and all these things, and we seldom have the time to stop and smell the roses. I know
Right.
that's a cliche, but it's just true. And I
Mm-hmm.
think Thanksgiving is when you pump the brakes and you look around yourself and you say, wow, am I ever lucky?
Yes, absolutely. And welcome, Snell Messiah, the mighty mollusk.
Hey, the mighty mollusk. Good to see
Great to
you.
see you tonight. Great to see you tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's sentiment shared by lots of people. It is a time of reflection and being
Hmm.
thankful, being grateful for everything. Because what happened where it started in the U.S. was the United States was it was always there in the colonies, but it was in 1863 in the middle of the Civil War when Abraham Lincoln proclaimed it a national Thanksgiving Day,
Yeah.
and that's where it really was formalized. And to take a look back, it was a really bloody war that was halfway through it, and a time to remember what we're thankful for, and to remember all that we had lost. So, but
Yeah.
I, it's honestly, and nowadays it's not as one thing I like with Thanksgiving is not as commercial in the sense like Halloween and Christmas have become.
Hmm.
It's really still back to the food and the community coming together, time together with family and friends.
Well, I think it's a big deal too in America, because I noticed with my American friends that Thanksgiving really kicks off um, the Christmas holidays. And it's in your society, in your country, it's like
Hmm.
you have cut out an entire part of the year to show love and appreciation and celebration, and, visiting people and visiting family across country. I mean, Americans really go the distance at this time of year, and it was one of Clobby's favorite holidays. Well, he often said that it was his favorite holiday, just for that reason. He felt
Hmm.
like he felt that society, or at least he said he felt like society, everybody became a little kinder and a little gentler. And then, of course, he would start laughing and saying, plus I love the food. And so I'm in I get my information about American Thanksgiving from all of the wonderful Americans I know. And, uh, and I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that you're able to capture November and December together, and take all that time for family and loved ones.
Yeah, and honestly, really, what happens? I've said it before, and I've heard a few other people say it. It's like Thanksgiving comes, you got the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade at 9 o'clock in the morning. Then Christmas does not officially start. You're not allowed to do anything until Santa appears at the end of the Macy's Christmas Parade. I think at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Then it's Christmas officially. You can Santa and all the decorating you want to. At least that's how I do it.
Yeah. Um, did you
Mhm.
know that antiderivative Jilly Jill,
I
just
see.
walked
I
into
see.
the door?
Thank you for calling around. I just saw it because I'm actually doing a poll while we're talking.
Nice, nice, nice.
Ham, lamb, or beef? What is another meat that would be? Oh, well, let's see. Let's go vegetarian. Let's see. I'll do it like that. I am going to go with a poll. Vote early, vote often, as people in America like to say in some parts of the country. What is your favorite non-turkey main? I need to say main dish. Main, if I can spell right, for Thanksgiving. So, ham, lamb, beef, vegetarian. What do you think? So, y'all go ahead. We're going to have a poll for non traditional turkey. Yes. And hey, anti derivative Jill. another person we've got to see a while back. Great to see you. Hope Max. I'm sorry. If you want something other, just say other and put it in the chat. We'll do it there. So, and I agree, West Cago. It might have been West that I heard it. It does. The parade kicks off the Christmas season, and it ends with Santa. Then you put up the trees, you
Yeah,
stop, and everything else.
yeah.
Yeah. So, did you ever grow up watching that parade out in New York?
No, I didn't.
Or do they have it up there for y'all to see? It's broadcast on NBC and CBS here in the states.
I think a lot of people watch that, but you have to understand that Canada is a very vast nation, and it has
Mm-hmm.
pockets that have different types of culture, and some are more Americanized than others. So if you were looking at Toronto, and you were looking at Ottawa, and you would see much greater influence of American culture in daily life,
Mm-hmm.
whereas when you get into the prairies,
Mm-hmm.
and you're seeing a completely different culture that isn't quite as influenced. And part of that is the broadcasting. Part of that is the advertising you're exposed to, the television shows you're exposed to, and things like that. So it's a little bit different where I'm at, in Alberta, foothills of
Mm-hmm.
the Rockies. um, uh,
The
you know
Texas of Canada.
yeah, that's right. The Texas of
Yep.
Canada,
Yep.
compared to, let's say, somebody who would be living just, a half an hour north of Detroit.
Right. By the way, I want to take a little detour here. A couple comments towards you. Finley's telling me the fiction writer knows nothing of weekends or vacation. It's
This is
always
it.
24/7.
It
But
is. It
but
is.
Aunt Jill said, so glad to hear your voice again.
Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart.
And,
It's really nice to be invited. I miss you all tremendously, and thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight.
and Captain Kirk says the same thing. Amazing to see you streaming. So
JT Kirk, I love you. You've been with me the whole time. Love
yes,
you
I
so
am
much.
Kirok.
Yes,
He's embraced it.
Kirk.
So
I
right.
am Kirok.
Is there a Tim Hortons parade? Gosh, all I've heard is about Tim Hortons, but
I don't
never.
really like Tim Hortons. I don't
No.
think it's very good. I think there are two American companies that I like a lot more. I
Mm,
really love Starbucks. I think Starbucks is just terrific. And here in Canada, I don't know about the United States,
mm,
and the different states and where they get their coffee from, but I have to tell you, the McDonald's here in Canada has far superior coffee to Tim Hortons.
yeah, I got you. I'm trying to figure out. Did the poll get posted, folks? Because I cannot see it. Hopefully, y'all did see it. So let me double check, make sure I hit the button. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's funny on my phone. I don't see it on the stream on YouTube on the computer. I see it. Well, right now in the early 12 votes, ham and beef are tied at 42%. So, all right. I will say. Well, I should have thought fish, but vegetarian is definitely an option these days.
Well, I
You know.
think I think there are a lot of people eating fish coming up to the holiday because they're celebrating Lent or observing
Hmm.
Lent, right? So,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and it's different options. That's one thing that's amazed is that with so many products and development of, there's so many more options there used to be, and there's acceptance of different options. Growing up, it's like you had to have turkey, and then you got to have your only option was ham. Oh, speaking of that, and we're going to get more into all the stuff, but ham specifically, do you go with like a country ham that's salty or the glazed, like the honey ham?
well, I do both.
Hmm.
So, I do the turkey. And in years past, when we had a very full house full of dozens upon dozens upon dozens of people, you would cook the roast feast beast, so the mighty turkey. And so, you're talking between 20 and 25 pounds, or even bigger. And then the country ham together, and we'd be able to get rid of all of the food, and everyone would eat it. But
Yeah,
nowadays I don't do that. Nowadays
yeah.
I've been doing just the turkey breast.
Hmm.
So I take some roasted carrots, and I always choose the big uh, European cold European country sized carrots, so there isn't very much sugar in them, because carrots. the sugar comes out of them as they mature.
Mm-hmm.
I just use sweet onions and carrots, and then I put two turkey breasts on top of the sweet
Oh,
onions and
wow.
carrots, and I just cook the two turkey breasts because it seems like it's the best way for us to get rid of all of the meat in time.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Right.
seems like my family more and more likes the country ham, the old school country ham.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Our family is more the sweet honey ham, but as I've gotten over the years, it's not. I don't know. It's just either it's too thin or something. It just doesn't taste the same as as a good thick country ham. And by the way, Admiral Teague is here. He's stumbling in. Hey,
Hey, good evening.
how are you, Teague? Good to see you tonight. Um, yeah. How has Thanksgiving changed? Like from, I'm going to talk in a minute about my family history, but like from when you were a kid growing up, did you have many Thanksgivings? Or as how did Thanksgiving change for you over the years? Is it the same as it's always been, or has it just changed as you've gotten older?
Well, I think Thanksgiving is has stayed the same. The Canadians celebrate it in a much different way than in the United States, and I don't think that our tradition has changed very much. The nature of it certainly has changed a lot. It was celebrated for many different reasons, but the first Thanksgiving in Canada was held in 1578, so long before the American Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've sort of the country incorporates all of these reasons for having this day. They just sort of stuff it all into this one bag, this one Thanksgiving bag. And so it hasn't really changed for me. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
I had a very impecunious childhood, um, and um, and I truly do mean that. There are a lot of people out there who need to go to the food bank in order to be able to celebrate Thanksgiving, and that's the reality of life. And
Mm-hmm.
certainly, that was the reality in our family for many years. So. I guess now that I'm older and I have my own home and my own family and I have different affairs, certainly it's nice to have a meal and not worry about it. But
Mm-hmm.
it definitely factors into my Thanksgiving thinking. Certainly, when you think about when you were a have not, it certainly puts a sheen, a beautiful little shine on Thanksgiving that only people who are have nots could truly appreciate. I feel.
Mm-hmm. And it makes us more appreciative too, and to help those others this time of year, and not just this
Mhm.
time of year, but all year round. To keep your your eyes out for other people that you can help along the way.
Mhm.
Be grateful for your blessings and what you have. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, like just JT is a giving time of year. Yes, thank you. Hit that like button. So appreciate that, JT, as always. But and folks, if y'all don't mind sharing the stream out, we appreciate it. Thank you for your support. We got RM Briggs here talking about Thanksgiving. Well, with me, this year is going to be interesting. Um, as people know, my mom had surgery earlier in the year, and things are different now. Um, we are winding up to be out of the house. She's taking care full time with my sister, and we all do the stuff. But the old family home is going to be sold this week. So it's like I'm going through the what ifs and the looking back at it this week more than in this is going to be an interesting Thanksgiving. We're all going to be together this Thanksgiving, which hasn't really happened in a few years. But I look back at the house. I remember many events and stuff that we had there. Uh, One of the things is always watching NFL football. It was a requirement in our house because we were always football addicts. We were watching Dallas Cowboys. The Detroit Lions were so horrible. You're like, why the heck they put them on? But now JT can be happy at Thanksgiving with his Lions that are playing well. So that was one of the things I look back. I remember times when we go shopping the night before, get the stuff to come in. And there were some funny things. You want to hear something? I don't know. This sounds kind of weird. Don't laugh too hard, okay? Um, uh, my I grew up. You know what my mom assigned me the job to do?
No.
to clean the turkey. So
Oh.
yeah, so she let me stand in the stand on a stool, get in the same sink that's there right now, clean the turkey, wash it. So I joked around as a kid, as a 6 or 7 year old might do, clean a turkey, give it a massage, all this stuff, all these games and stuff. And I'm like, I just found out earlier this year, my wife, Mrs. asked my mother, like, did he really do this as a kid? My mom's like, yeah, he did. My wife's like, why? And she said, she let me deal with the turkey because it would get me out of her hair. So she focus on everything else that's there, and those are the stories that we always remember and things like that. And it's going to be an interesting year for us, looking back what we've come through and what's going on now and again, going forward. And, but yeah, it's just everybody,
No. I'm going to come in and correct that story.
Uh-oh.
It was not to clean the turkey. She assigned Dad Man the job of massaging the turkey, not clean it. That's
Okay.
two different things. And I asked when one day he's telling our kids when they were little, you need to massage the turkey. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, my mom had me massage the turkey. And so I said, Grandma Man walking, why did you have Dad Man massage the turkey? He says, to keep him out of my hair while I was cooking dinner.
That's
Sorry, I had to correct that story. He was just so wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
How about that for a story?
Brogo!
Brogo, how are you tonight? So, yes. Oh, by the way, Max said, Mrs. You're the thief of the cream of Creole crawfish soup. So, yeah, folks. So those are the stories we get. And Miss Martin Muses, hello. How are you?
Good evening.
Great to see you, Teresa. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, no massage. No. Okay. She was trying to, and I was ignoring the chat, I guess. And JT, of course, says, go Lions. And, Gragnar said, "Is interesting. U.S. celebrates Columbus Day on the same day Canada celebrates Thanksgiving." I did not realize that the two over that. So, and Jill said after you described that, I realized now that I don't recall even having Thanksgiving until I was about 9.
Yeah,
I didn't miss it because I didn't know how it didn't know it existed. And I was fed.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, and feel free if you want to share your favorite Thanksgiving memories and things, please do. We got the poll out there. JT said his favorite was in 2019 when he cooked for 16 family members and wife announced she was childless during dessert. Oh, yes, that would be awesome. That was a special one. So, Admiral Teague wants to leave out the NFL. Okay. That was only a quick mention for JT because the Cowboys are just as bad, if not worse, than the Jets, my friend. So, and Brogu says to you that he's missed you so much. Hope you've been doing well.
Oh, I love you, and it's great to be here. It was so kind for Dad Man and the Dad Man clan to invite me here, and it's great to be with you all. I've missed you all very much.
Absolutely. Well, doors open anytime, folks. Make sure you hit that like button, share it out if you want to. If you can, we appreciate your support. So now, Raquel, we were talking about some of the favorite foods you like.
Yes.
We talked about the meats and stuff. What are your great side dishes? Because that sometimes to me has always been the thing that gets me. It's not the turkey, the ham, but it's like either the mashed potatoes, the stuffing. What do you think? What are your favorite side dishes?
My favorite side dishes are a little bit weird because, of course, I'm from the north, and what's so funny is that it's just the way that we ate growing up. It was very much influenced by coming from Ireland, even though we didn't talk about it. So I probably don't really eat the things that Americans and certainly Americans in the South would consider nice side dishes. So typically we're talking a turkey with ham, roasted carrots, large roasted carrots. I like the gigantic ones. And I do a special roasting and glazing technique on them, and they're quite delicious. I love to roast sugar beets. I think that sugar beets are absolutely delicious. So some years I do sugar beets if they're affordable because they're quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then other times I just do the pickled beets. I love Brussels sprouts.
Ooh, yeah,
I
Brussels
usually
sprouts.
fry them in, I usually parboil them, drain them, put them in a frying pan with butter and a little bit of chili flake and some garlic. And then bacon and cook them down. So I do like Brussels sprouts, and I am Irish, so I do make champ. Um,
What is that?
so champ, it's like every mama, every mom, every Irish mom has their own recipe, but usually with champ, with Irish people, they're adding butter and milk and cheese to mashed potatoes, and so
Hmm.
that's what I do. I add a boatload of butter, I add heavy cream, and I usually add some type of cheese, and usually herbs, a lot of herbs
Mm-hmm.
and chives.
Wow, that is interesting. And hello, Balzette. Good to see you tonight. Hey, good to see everybody here tonight. And you're right. That's very different. Now you had me at the Brussels sprouts. I like them boiled or whatever, but especially if you can roast them and do something, like a roast vinaigrette or something with it. Those are really really good. But yeah, typical what we have is mashed potatoes, dressing, so those type of dishes. The
Well, I
standard
make
ones.
dressing too,
Yeah.
but I only make dressing now because I don't do stuffing anymore.
Mm,
Obviously, because I'm not stuffing a bird,
right.
so no stuffing here anymore. I do the dressing, and folks, should recognize the difference, right? If you're
Uh,
stuffing a bird, you're having stuffing. If
mhm.
you're having dressing, that's cooked outside of the bird. Even if you pretend to make the cavity, which many folks do, and it's easier to get it up to temperature so no one gets sick,
Yeah.
and it's also tastier. So a lot of folks buy a nice little cotton sack, or they just use some cooking cotton, and they make a nice little cavity and then wrap it in tinfoil and bake it in the oven. So it tastes a lot like stuffing, but it's
That
dressing.
that is funny because see down here we just kind of throw it all together. A box of stovetop is stuffing like dressing. It's just all together. But I understand with the difference because yeah, I always ask my parents why didn't y'all put the stuffing in the bird because that's why you always see, and they're like, but that
Yeah.
very reason so you don't get sick. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's because a lot of folks don't know how to check the internal temperature, and a lot of folks also, people who are on a budget usually
Hmm.
buy a frozen turkey. And so when you're dealing with a frozen turkey, oftentimes you see folks are very nervous about washing the bird and also about stuffing the bird because they're worried about
Right.
that temperature and whether or not they'll make everyone ill. Um, of course, if you have a little bit more money, you can afford to have a bird that's never been frozen, and then that changes the shape of Earth. It's much easier to make stuffing
Hmm.
at that point, right?
Right, right. That makes sense. Yeah, I always considered the two of them interchangeable, but
No,
yeah,
they're
I
different.
understand. I understand.
Yeah.
But the way
And
the way
stovetop stuffing is not stuffing.
I was waiting to hear that. So, but
Sorry.
it's okay. I just like something basic and cheap like that. But I know people usually like onion, celery,
Mhm.
crumbs, breadcrumbs, and stuff. How do you make your when you do make stuffing? How do you make it?
Well, for stuffing, I make it the same way as I make dressing. The only
Okay,
difference is that, like I said, I no longer use an animal's cavity to make it, right?
right.
But I usually use a very expensive multigrain and multi-seed bread that
Hmm.
tastes like white bread, but is actually very healthy. And it's the only bread. They make it up here at Sobeys that I just really love it a lot. It has little bits of seeds in it, but other than that, it tastes like Dutch crunch, like really rich, nice white bread. It's just gorgeous. So I usually chop that up, and I use Irish butter, and I caramelize onions and celery and spices, and bring it all together, and pop that into the fake little cotton sack, and tinfoil it and cook it for until it reaches an internal temperature of 74 to 78.
Wow, it sounds fascinating. Irish butter, what is that?
Just like Kerrygold, good Irish
Okay,
butter. You got to have good Irish butter and everything.
yeah. Brogu saw in a video someone asked her husband to wash the turkey and use dishwashing soap and clean the turkey.
No.
No, that's the one thing I did not do as a kid. I massaged. I did not use dishwashing soap. So,
Well,
but
the thing is that we're in transition, right?
yeah,
And so I should let everyone know that if they're not familiar with me, I worked in restaurants, and I've worked in restaurants with my family that I married into. We owned a few restaurants, and so I sort of come from it from the professional side. So it's really important for folks to realize that historically, one of the reasons why you would wash the turkey is because you would get it from a local farmer. So if you're getting a
mhm,
turkey from a local farmer, and it's just been plucked, and
yeah,
and it's fresh and ready to go, and you bring it home, you probably want to wash it off in case it has any fecal matter on it. And this happens, of course,
mm,
when you're gutting the turkey, when you're cleaning it out.
mhm,
And so what ends up happening is as you're pulling it all out, sometimes the fecal matter can come out of the rectum and get
mhm,
on the bird cavity. But
right,
today, most health sciences people, chefs, and certainly I believe both North American governments, as far as Canada and the United States go, recommend that you don't wash your turkey, because what it ends up doing is spreading salmonella everywhere.
yeah,
Folks usually have a very dirty sink. A normal person's sink is about the same filth level as a public toilet. So putting your nice clean turkey in there and
yep,
rinsing it off. So the rituals remain from our grandparents and our great grandparents, but certainly the way that meat is handled has changed. And so the way that we handle meat once it comes to our home, we need to take that into consideration so we don't make others ill, right?
absolutely. Always food safety. That's the name of the game. So let's
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
up on some of the other chats. I got a few chats started. I think some people left us some side dishes and stuff. But by the way, Wes Cagle said he only recognizes Alberta. The rest of Canada is cray cray. We're going to annex it to the when Canada completely loses it. Oh, West is so funny. But hey, the missus would be happy with a waffle at Waffle House.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, but she was saying earlier that she's stressed out by cooking the
cooking.
meal,
Yep, yep,
because of course
absolutely.
she's entertaining, and you guys
Hmm.
have kids, and your kids have friends that come, and you have this big family. And so
Yeah,
of course she's stressed out by it, because
yeah,
she's not only producing this multi-course meal, but she's
yeah.
also interacting with her family, and she's a very loving and kind person, so she wants to visit. So imagine trying
Exactly.
to keep all of those balls in the air as you're juggling, and so it's stressful for her.
Well,
For
what we
me,
did. Yeah, go ahead.
it's opposite, right? For me, I find like cooking is my solace. When we had the restaurants, and I used to have to go in for big pool tournaments and cook, 200 to 400 people breakfast in the space of 2 or 3 hours. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it, but I can definitely see how a
yeah,
normal person would
yes.
not want to do that, right?
I like to cook at times if I have space, if there's time and things like that. I've gotten to. I actually told the missus when I come back, I'm going to cook more at night. If they can keep the sink and the dishes clean, I don't mind cooking. I've enjoyed it actually,
Yeah.
learning how to make things. So, um, let's see where we go here. Brogu said his favorite side dish is cornbread dressing. Yep, that's a typical one down
See,
here.
this totally freaks me out. This whole cornbread thing,
Yeah.
this totally freaks me out. I'm not sure if I could handle it, but Brogu, you know what else I don't like, that gives me the heebie-jeebies, that totally freaks me out, is the yams with sugar and marshmallows and stuff on top of them.
Oh, you
Um,
can't. You got to be careful coming down south. That's
I
my
know.
family makes that all every year. I
Listen,
don't like it.
listen, Dadman, you already know all of my favorite human beings are in the South. To
I
me,
know.
there's nothing greater in this world than a Southern gentleman. But I got to tell you, it is a culture shock for me, like to have a sweet thing like that on the table. I
Mhm.
also don't like corn pudding, and the green bean thing with the mushroom
Casserole.
soup that y'all
Oh,
make. Ugh.
green.
No, no.
There's something they call ambrosia, which is green like marshmallows and whipped cream and all kinds of stuff that's kind of like grosses me out all the time.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, green bean casserole. It's got all that white smoothie creamy crap in it. Usually got crunch like crumbs on top of it. Yeah, I'd give me more
That's a
meat.
pass for me. That's a strong pass
Yep.
for me, as is taking canned green beans and putting
Hmm.
them in a casserole dish and covering them with canned mushroom soup, baking it in the oven, then taking it out and covering it in store prepared, sealed, crispy onion straws. It's vile. But, the thing is that I think that if you went to the South and you had all this stuff traditionally, I think it
Yeah.
would be much different than it is today.
Well,
Like
you're
if you
getting
went to a Southern person's
yeah.
house, I'm sure the green beans would be fresh. I'm sure that their mushroom soup wouldn't be used. That it would be somebody chopping up some beautiful mushrooms, covering it in some beautiful mascarpone
Yeah.
cheese and or heavy cream and
Yep.
getting out some garlic and pouring that over the green beans and popping that in the oven. I mean, that's heaven.
You're
But
getting support out here.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
whole thing with the canned soup,
Yeah.
that's not the Southern
No.
way. So
No.
so I guess you could say that the
Yeah.
adapted versions are grody to the max, man.
Yep.
But I think the traditional stuff made by the Southern chefs, I
Yeah.
think would probably be delightful.
Yeah, so I just was looking at here. Mrs. Hate the yams too. Just roast a marshmallow and eat them. Then she talked about the fresh green beans with cream and mushroom soup, French onion strips. Brogu's saying, "Don't come to South because people love those candied yams." He's
Jeez,
actually
yeah.
with you. Candied yams are a little sweet for him, and then
It just doesn't go with the dinner, does it, sweetheart?
Phantom
Fenty!
Outsider. Yeah, he slipped
Fenty!
right in. Oh, Phantom Outsider, how are you? He slipped right
Fanty,
in on me.
fanty, fanty.
Yeah, exactly. So hey, good to see you tonight, Phantom. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up with a couple other. Oh yeah, Brogu said you're right. Average kitchen sink is dirty as a toilet.
It is,
Exactly.
and that's the thing. Like, and you hesitate to talk about these sorts of things on YouTube because it's a great way to get yourself in trouble with the algorithm. But yeah, I have level.
Honestly, screw the algorithm. I'm fighting algorithm all the time. I'm just basically as I get older, I get grumpy and I say screw everything and just I love my independence. And you know what? The algorithm will find me, and the people that want to find me when I can.
Yeah,
And I love my independence. I like to
yeah.
do my thing and not be beholden to the algorithm. Because look, if it's a topic we want to talk about, let's talk about it. Let's have fun
Okay, well
with it.
then I'll say now that I
Yeah.
have level 2 health certification for supervising people as they prepare food for large groups of people in a restaurant setting, in a banquet setting. So I took level 1 and I took level 2 in health and restaurant and food safety. Wherever food is prepared, you should have someone like me making sure that people aren't going to get sick. So yes, I would definitely, as a person who comes from that background, I would definitely recommend that if you are getting your turkey from a major supermarket, to avoid washing your turkey in the sink. You're going to splash salmonella all over your kitchen.
Yep.
There are going to be micro droplets everywhere. It's going to get on your shirt, in your mouth, around the sink, around the window if it's around there. And certainly you do not need to rinse it. You're not a farmer anymore. You did not go up the road a piece and retrieve your
No.
freshly killed turkey from your neighbor.
Yep.
It's just much, 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 much safer for you to just cook it to an internal temperature of 74 to 78.
Getting it cooked throughout is the main risk you have. Yeah, because it makes sense. It definitely does because
Yep.
It gets everywhere like you said, and yeah, because who knows? I'm going through the plants and everything. They're plucked, washed, rinsed, and so much other stuff. Now Jill has a chance that could make me try it a little bit. Is not She does it where it's not soupy, doesn't add a lot of soup, but she used the onion. And there's one. I think she also said she used bacon too. So I was
Yeah.
like, bacon makes everything better, you know.
Yeah.
So
And certainly, I want you all to know that that I make no criticism, but it's a culture shock. It's a
yeah,
little bit different than what we're used to,
yeah.
right? And you have different customs depending upon where you come from in the world, and so you have these preconceived notions of what you think Thanksgiving is all about, right?
And we're going to get into more of that. We're kind of like we always do. We squirrel around. We kind of go where we go with this, and we'll get everything covered. Phantom says, I'm more carnivore with the O blood type.
Yeah,
I get away with that better than others. And Brogu
yeah.
said, RM, I'm so happy seeing and talking to you.
I
The
love you.
stream has made his day. So,
I love you. I love you, Brogu. Do you remember This Is the Way, sweetheart? I miss you. I'm sending you the biggest hug.
yeah. Oh, Jill would actually get a turkey from my uncle's ranch. Wow. Their
Yeah,
step grandmother would. And
yeah. Kicking it
hi,
old school.
Sashi. Good to see you tonight, Sashi. Yes, good to see
Hello.
you. Yeah. So Phantom says you can put stuffing in the bird, but I'd rather put aromatic inside the bird to give it more flavor.
You know, Fanti, a lot of chefs would agree with you. A lot of chefs have stopped doing the stuffing and they've started doing the dressing and using aromatics in the cavity instead. A lot of folks too have been employing different techniques, like, you know, cutting up a whole lemon and putting it inside. So it's really about your preference, right? But
Yeah.
I really do, as a person who worked in restaurants for many, many years, the better part of 2 decades. It really is linked with this idea that mom goes down to the supermarket. The turkey is atrociously expensive. She can't buy it fresh. Not from the
Mhm.
butcher, not from the supermarket, not Albertsons, not Safeway, whatever have you. But you know what's on special is these frozen turkeys, and
Mhm.
so it really it becomes a dangerous thing. People feel frightened of cooking a frozen bird, and you see people, you know, leaving a turkey out on the counter to let it defrost, and folks should never do that. You know,
See, I worry about that even with chicken. Basically,
yeah,
we have some frozen chicken. Chicken. I'm actually more comfortable cooking pork than I am chicken because I'll end
yeah,
up cooking chicken way too long
yeah.
because of trying to make sure to get that internal temperature correct. You know.
Yeah, and it's so much easier, I do have to say, as a professional cook and somebody who you know studied it. I would definitely say that if you've never cooked a turkey before and you've never cooked a Thanksgiving meal before, it might be a good idea to start with a country ham and to just do the turkey breast. But if you're going to try cooking turkey for the first time, you really should spend a little extra money if you can afford it, and get something that's never been frozen before, because it really is easy to bring up.
Yeah.
Bring it up to that safe temperature with stunning results. Moist meat, nice
No.
stuffing, everyone is healthy and happy. But you got to buy that thermometer, and you have to make sure that you're putting it into the thickest part of the meat, you know, right deep into the thigh and in deep into the breast, and
Mhm.
also inserting that thermometer into the cavity and making sure that it's between 74 and 78. If it's not between 74 and 78, it's not ready.
Yeah. Now
And of
help me
course, by
with
74 and 78, I mean C, guys.
C. Yes, that's right. Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
That's right.
Two different countries.
Canadian, sorry.
Canadians. Oh well. Hey, yes, exactly. 78 C, which can get the conversion to Fahrenheit, and also look at the instructions on your turkey. Usually, now you mentioned and Phantom did here aromatics. What is that usually? Is that like he's talking about half lemon, half orange onions, cloves? Is
Nice.
that are those? Or is that what you mean by the term aromatics? Things
Yeah,
that will.
certainly. Yeah, certainly. Some people will put in sage, huge handfuls of sage. A lot of people really like sage. That's usually the taste that people associate with stuffing and dressing is sage. Um, uh, Parsley, thyme. Some folks even use rosemary. I don't recommend it because rosemary is like bacon. It can overwhelm a
Mhm.
meal. It can overwhelm with flavor. Like, you can have too much bacon, if you're dealing with a meat or something really beautiful that's quite delicate that can't stand up to it. So you have to be careful with rosemary, and you have to be careful with bacon. Otherwise, all you're going to have is rosemary and bacon. And some people would say, well, what's wrong with that? And to those people, I say, rock on.
I never thought I'd say you can never have too much bacon, but I guess I can understand it.
It
So
can overwhelm a delicate meat, and then
yeah,
basically all you've done
yeah,
is just make yourself some
yeah,
more bacon, right? Because it will overwhelm. Have you ever made
yeah.
an egg salad sandwich,
No, I
or
refuse to eat
egg
anything
salad?
egg. Nope, nope, nope. No eggs,
Oh,
no
oh, yeah, that's
salad.
right. You hate
Yeah,
eggs.
oh yes,
Okay, how
exactly with
about
a passion.
tuna?
No, 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 because it's mayonnaisey and creamy and
Okay,
yeah. Sorry, it's a
okay.
texture
Well,
thing with me.
usually when people make like potato salad or tuna salad or egg salad, they add onions, and many people will not eat
Yeah,
it after a day because the onions
no.
have overwhelmed it.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
bacon is like, and that's what
Mhm.
rosemary is like. It can take
I'm
over.
I understand. I want to hit something real quick though, because Rod mentioned something. Rod, I hope you're still here. That's how far behind I'm. Like, well, we're having fun with this, but he mentioned Swedish pot. I guess is that a side dish?
I don't know. I know
Oh,
that
oh, he's
Rod
down here.
Thunderheart is. Oh, here you go.
Yeah, Swedish pot is potatoes ground to mush, mixed with flour, salted. Then as it's mixed to right consistency, you put bacon in the middle and boil it for an hour. Wow, that that sounds interesting. Yeah, that sounds interesting, Rod. We might have to try that sometime, Missus, because it potatoes ground to mush, mixed with flour. I wonder what you add the flour. It must rise or something with the flour, but it's hey, you put bacon in it, I'll eat it. So, but that would be interesting to try though. By the way, we got a few jokes in here. Matt said he used to be part Irish, but then he stopped drinking.
That's
Brogu
terrible.
Brogu loves says his brother Grogu loves frog eggs, and as his favorite side dish. Oh
So
wow,
he's eating his children or eating the
yes.
children. I know what that
Di-
reference is. I love
oh
it.
yeah, the Mandalorian. Oh,
Do you
anyway.
remember when everybody had a meltdown on Mando?
Oh yeah, it was like, look, he's just yeah, it's like
Lisa
Lisa's here. All right,
and
Lisa,
Brian Hepburn.
buddy Hepburn, how are you? I'm reading the stuff I'd started already. Lisa, hey, what's cooking? We're talking turkey, ham, all that kind of stuff. Right now, we're on side dishes and how to properly prepare your turkey. So I'm trying to catch up with some that we did. We just learned about Swedish pot thanks to Rod Thunderheart. So that would be, and he says, cut it up in butter, dip in butter, and enjoy. Well, that's something I'd like to try sometime. Brogu does have a question for you directly. Or is it some? Do you like ham?
I do. I love country ham. And I think Broku, you asked earlier too that you were saying like in the South they do a deep fried turkey. I want
Right.
you to know that we have tried that a couple of times and we quite liked it. Um,
In the
we've
hands of somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yes,
Seriously, because
it turned out very, very well. We only used the oil once. So
yeah.
I actually did something that I never thought I would do. I broke the bank and bought peanut oil, and I deep fried it in peanut oil, and it turned out magnificent. And then of
Yeah.
course I threw it out.
Well,
So
I'm sorry. It's a really passionate topic with me because Mrs. will know that I have her family, my in-laws do a good job with all food. Food preps, they're cautious. They fry it right. They can fry it. On my side of the family, it comes out almost black.
oh wow.
I don't know how they eat it. It's fried or harder than a. I
Well,
just, it's
deep
like,
frying a turkey takes it's a lot of work. You really need to know what you're doing, and you need to have a great deal of experience deep
mm-hmm,
frying things.
mm-hmm,
And of course, in the restaurant, you really learn. In the restaurant experience, you really get comfortable around cooking oil
mm-hmm,
and the deep fat fryer. And so yeah, with the
yeah,
I would definitely say that it's not something that a newbie should be doing. There are a great deal of precautions you should take. You should contact your local fire department. Your
mm-hmm,
local fire department will have a little statement on how to handle deep frying a turkey, and you should
mm-hmm,
obey your local fire department, whatever they tell you. The first thing you're definitely going to be doing is
yeah,
using a separate roll of paper towel, and you're going to dry that sucker out. And you're certainly not going to be putting a frozen one in there, and certainly not one that was previously frozen. That is a
Yeah.
fresh turkey only environment, and it needs to be fully dried
Yeah.
out and cooked at the perfect temperature. So get a hold of your local fire department. Guaranteed all the guys at the
Yeah.
firehouse know how to cook. They're
Yeah.
great cooks, and they will have a list of tips for how you can stay safe and deep fry
Yeah.
that turkey.
And Lisa with a joke, State Farm offers insurance.
Yes, exactly, Lisa.
Except in Florida, it's hard to get homeowners insurance, but that's another topic for another day. But Brian Hepburn, hey, Brian, good to see you tonight.
It's so good to see you
tonight. I got one last thing here that I actually brought up because I've never heard of this. I don't know if you've heard of it. Jill said spatchcocking your turkey will reduce cooking time needed.
Well, I'd like to hear from Jill, because I think everyone would like to hear what she has to say on this.
I'm curious I'm curious to see that. But Snell Massage said if you deep fry something, if the oil isn't too burned, you can toss it in bird seeds when the oil is cooling down. That way you don't have to waste the oil. Be a lifesaver for birds. Oh, interesting. All right, we caught up on all the starred comment. We haven't even made it to desserts, folks. So let me try to get back to where I was. So, so it's really
no, it's not
Sasha
flattening, Max. It's butchering the. Anyway, let Jill explain it to you, but it's not flattening. You don't want to flatten it.
Now, Sashi is over from Malaysia. Turkey isn't common over here, mostly pork or chicken in the form of chicken rice or char siu. Oh, that's interesting. It's interesting, Sashi. Looks really, really good.
I know in Japan, it's a tradition to completely overwhelm the local Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yes.
Folks order, a year, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 years in advance in order to be able to get the Christmas Kentucky Fried Chicken. And it is atrociously expensive, I've heard.
But it is a thing. It's KFC. Well, see, but before I judge, I will not judge. That's okay, because you know what we do every few years. The missus doesn't like cooking and this, that, and the other. We have a food buffet called the Golden Coral. I call it Golden Coral, but it's Corral. We usually go there before they open and get in line and just have them cook and eat there. But that way we don't have to cook, clean, or anything else, and we get all that we want. And have you ever tried eating out on a Thanksgiving?
No, I would never do that.
Okay. Well,
I think my family would revolt. I think my family would revolt simply because so much. I have like one of those super grateful, amazing, kind families. And so leading up to the holidays, about every week or two, somebody says to me, wow, it's almost time to eat your Thanksgiving meal, or wow, it's almost time to have the Christmas meal. So how can you deny them? I mean, if you try to go somewhere else, there would be some sort of revolt. I think that would be it for me.
Well, that's good. You got family like that. We just kind of, everybody does different things. You would not believe though how popular it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to get there. If you don't get there like at 9:30, you're way out the door. Like at least half an hour early, and the line's already formed. It's if you try to go at 11, you're well out the parking lot. So and. See. Rod said you're supposed to form them into baseball-sized balls. Okay, I was wondering about that. So, but hey, it's good. It's I would like to try that one day, Mrs. If you get that right down. So let's see, get caught up. But so, let's see. Yeah, peanut oil to fry your turkey. Oils, y'all have to.
The best.
The best.
Oh, the peanut, for when if you deep fry your turkey in peanut oil, you would not believe the taste of the turkey afterwards, because every lubricant that you use for meat profoundly changes the way that the meat tastes. Imagine cooking chicken breast in grapeseed oil, or imagine cooking a steak in canola oil, or opposed to butter. So when you're looking at peanut oil, you would not believe the beautiful flavor it imparts on turkey. It's really wonderful. And also, you haven't had French fries until you've had French fries, like home fries, whole potatoes cut up,
Oh yeah,
deep
we talked
fried
about
in,
French fries before, the crinkle cuts.
yeah,
Yeah, we've
yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And peanut oil is so good.
Yeah.
Peanut oil is
Well, the
delicious.
only thing is, if you do fry it, make sure you are very careful. Never cook from frozen. I do know that
Yeah,
because
don't do that.
ice and oil do not mix, but always be careful. Don't do it in your garage or inside. Make sure you have a well ventilated area and stuff like that. B from O, hey, welcome. Hey, he's listening and watching. Good to see you today. Good to see you today. Turkey, duck, and chicken. Yeah. No,
Gross.
no.
That's
Yeah.
going to be a hard pass. I think that comes from like the English traditions of medieval traditions of wanting to prepare meals that had a great presence when placed on the table. But I'm just going to totally pass on stuffing one dead animal into another. That for me, that doesn't really impress me. It doesn't make me go, I'm hungry.
Yeah. See, Sizzler one year, yeah, when you go out on a Disneyland trip, yeah, you could do that. See, we've taken vacations around Thanksgiving, usually Christmas more, where we were out like Disney or somewhere, and we'd eat at the hotels or the restaurants there on Christmas trips like that. But yeah, Sizzler one year, yeah. But it is in demand. I tell you, you would not think people do it, but that is a very, very
You got to do what you got to do.
draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can cook if you want to.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, Max only cooks for people he loves. So hey.
Oh, there you go.
Phantom said we went out to a restaurant once. It was Larson's Turkey Farm. It's very good, but it was not as relaxed as when you're at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Lisa says she's too traditional to eat out on a holiday except for Easter brunch.
It's amazing that she said that because that's exactly how I feel. Like I feel like Easter brunch is your pass, and Easter brunch at a major hotel usually yields a wonderful result. I really love having the eggs Benedict.
Yeah.
It's just terrific and it's nice. I like it. I enjoy it.
I remember the turducken, and John Madden with the turkey. Yeah, it's just the big jumbo legs. That started one Thanksgiving on the NFL coverage. So, and Phantom Outsider is, once again, folks, do make sure you know what you're doing if you try to fry your turkey, because any type of ice or water will cause. Just look at YouTube safety videos. I mean, fire departments put those videos out all the time, because that's a big danger, and it does have to be properly thawed, and you have to have the right level of oil, because once you put it in, the oil rises. So
I think too that folks that have never dealt with a deep fat fryer before aren't aware of how quickly oil can rise in temperature and how it can be explosive. You really have to raise the temperature in a very gradual way, and there are all sorts of techniques to working with deep fat deep fryer. So your local fire department.
Always go to the experts. I tell you, there's a lot of the chats and jokes I've not posted up today, but you guys are great out there. You guys are rocking it. The jokes about a lot of this stuff. But JT Kirk, I never do brunch because my generation ruined it with avocado toast.
Thing is, JT Kirk, is I don't like avocados. I just don't. I think they're kind of gross. And the thing is that I don't mind them when I'm making, like, I do this Mexican inspired eggs Benedict, and I pile on a fresh salsa, and I pile on cheese and sour cream or creme fraiche, and I don't mind adding the avocado because I think it's quite sexy, and apparently avocado is supposed to be good for us at our age. But just the thing is that I find it as an odd texture, and I don't like the way it smells. But the one way that I'm able to eat it is with a boatload of sea salt. And so the way that I eat it makes it no longer healthy. It's just not worth it anymore.
That's what's so good for holiday,
right?
Making it unhealthy. We haven't even gotten to the desserts yet. We're still on the sides with it. But Comic Relief
Crusader.
Hey, how are you tonight? Good to see you. Good to see you tonight, Comic Relief Crusader. Hope you're doing well. Max said it did a 5-star hotel thing for a bit with his aunt.
Yeah,
his fancy schmancy wasn't the same. So he's cooking something awesome. Yes, awesome. And hello to Connie Cleary. Great
Good
to
evening,
see
Connie.
you. Great to see you too. And of course, Buddy said if you haven't hit the subscribe button, also Mrs. has put a link out there what not to do when frying a turkey. So,
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
oh
So,
man,
Buddy
yeah.
Hepburn
hmm
is Brian Hepburn's brother or dad?
Brian is dad. Brian is
His
dad.
dad. Okay, because back when I was streaming, Buddy hadn't. He wasn't on the scene quite yet.
Right? No, he hadn't. He's been hanging out with us for about a year now or so,
Wow.
and with Fortnite and other things too. But yeah, Brian's his dad.
Nice.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
They're great people to have around. I love
it's
them in the
great to
chats.
families are wonderful.
Absolutely. So, is it Danny DeVito's birthday today?
Oh, wow.
Wow. Hey, by the way, if you want to know birthdays tomorrow, check out Mrs. Dadman tomorrow at 10 a.m. So she specializes in birthdays everywhere.
Oh, nice.
But in terms of I guess that's one thing, like when we do go out, say, like to the Golden Corral, or as my mother-in-law called it, the feeding trough, it's like, oh, great. We have the Lady Mist with us
Lady
tonight.
Mist.
Lady Mist. Welcome. Great to see you. And always love seeing those flowers there.
All the way back to the Pegasus Actual podcast, Lady Mist.
Which one podcast was that?
Pegasus Actual podcast.
Oh, wow. Where?
That's where I met Lady Mist.
I don't think I ever heard of that one, though. Was that a Battlestar Galactica thing?
That was the Battlestar Galactica thing.
Wow. Okay. Because I know the name Pegasus.
Yeah, I'm never going to forget Lady Mist because basically Lady Mist and I were the only two ladies in that room for a long time. Long before everyone started podcasting. We were over there with like just a small little group of us talking about Battlestar Galactica all the time, and that's where I met her. She's just a really cool chick, and she's been with us since the beginning. Like, you want to talk about people in the community who have been there since like day one, it's Lady Mist.
Wow. I tell you, she's one that when she started coming over, I felt a high honor. You see these names, and when they make it around, it's like really, really, really cool. I just think so. When she comes in, there's all the flowers and things out is really, really great. So great to see you tonight. Max sums it up. Golden Corral, the refugee camp for Old Country Buffet. Yes, I will say, there used to be a lot more. Ponderosa was a good one, but don't have them in Texas. But a lot of the buffets suffer because it's getting price prohibitive from a customer standpoint, though.
Well, but the thing is that the thing is that it's usually waste. Like people think that why buffets close down and why buffets start adding a lot more carbohydrates to the menu is because the carbohydrates help stretch the buffet budget, right?
Right.
But and most people think, it's because people are eating too much. That really wasn't ever the case for me when I was dealing with buffets and when I was dealing with large crowds of people in restaurants and nightclubs and pubs. It's really waste. It's people, what's the old saying, your eyes are bigger than your belly. And people grab up a great pile, a Herculean pile of food, and then they throw most of it away.
The missus is big about this, about gross and hygiene and people letting kids run up there. Or people
that's another thing.
Shirt sleeves. But the one thing I do like from that concept, you have so much variety that you could have a lot of different things that you may not want to fix at home. You don't have space or whatever else. So in some ways it can broaden your horizon with that because, but I'll tell you, honestly, for a great Thanksgiving for me, I just give me your ham, your turkey, and then give me mashed potatoes with turkey gravy, stuffing, dressing, whatever you want to call it. The cheaper, the better. I don't like mushrooms and all the other stuff put into it. I'm happy with a box of stovetop. I know people cringe at me saying that. That's probably about it. I'm not a yam guy. I'm not a cranberry guy. I'm not.
Well, it would appear from our chat that a lot of people don't like that, and I've looked into several studies that say about 30% of Americans don't like that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I think the number is around 30. You would have to look it up, but around 30% of Americans think that cranberry sauce is disgusting. and it
Hmm.
gets gnarly. So
Hmm.
you're
No,
you're in
yeah,
good company.
yeah. Yeah, and I do remember Ryan's. Ryan's was a southeast, located in the southeast of the U.S. It was a food buffet. It's actually started as steak. A lot of the old steakhouses like that started as steak, and then they added the salad bar. Then they added the the hot bars, is that what they called it. So they
Yeah.
kind of morphed it. One of those industries that morphed into something bigger than what it is. So Mrs. says fresh, because she does cranberry, when she does cook, she has me buy the cranberries.
Yeah.
Actually, she does not want the canned stuff. Do you tell a difference?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I'm no snob. That's for certain. I grew up very, very poor. And so it's not really about that. It's really about the freshness.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're talking about that green bean casserole, like I was saying earlier, the shortcuts that people applied when a lot of people were eating TV dinners and they just wanted to make things quick. And Campbell's was trying to insert itself into American culture and have everybody making everything out of soup. Some of these
Mm-hmm.
recipes to me, they are. It's very suspicious to me that they're so processed, because you can tell that at one time somebody made them fresh and they were beautiful. So I
Mm-hmm.
can certainly see where Mrs. Dadman would look at fresh made cranberry sauce or
Mm-hmm.
like a chutney and say, that's absolutely delicious, because it's really the canned stuff that's awful. if
Right.
if if you can avoid it, avoid it.
And Lisa's talking about with oranges. I mean, is that like physical, like real oranges, or is there like a flavoring or?
No,
I mean,
she's probably talking about real oranges. Some people even use Grand Marnier, which is orange
mm,
cognac. Some people will take cranberries
right.
and orange cognac, which is Grand Marnier. You have Grand Marnier in the United States. You put Grand Marnier in
Mm.
there, and you make a nice little,
Well, we all
a
know
nice
Lisa
little
knows
sauce.
what she's talking about with food. Actually, Lisa is one of the two people that I said if they made eggs, I would eat it. So,
Well, Lisa's a
so
great cook. Um,
absolutely.
there's a message for me here from Brogu, and I just can't
Okay.
leave it unanswered because
Uh,
I love him and he's my friend.
I'm trying to
So he
get
just
to it.
said, "Here's a dozen roses for
Oh,
RM, my
yes.
favorite internet person. I love you so much." And thank you for taking time out of your day to come and visit with me here and to be with all of us and to hang out with all of us. I have missed you terribly. So I take your beautiful roses, and I just appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Thank you for being my friend, sweetheart.
Absolutely. And thank you, Brogu. Always love having you around. Sorry the Gators beat LSU yesterday, but hey, always love having you around. The cutest uh, Baby Yoda avatar anywhere you can find, with those eyes just
I
staring
know.
right at you. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. Brian Hepburn said yam sweet potatoes are the bomb. No marshmallows, though. Candy can't cranberry jelly. So, all
Hmm.
right. So yeah, apparently people don't like the marshmallows on the
Yeah, the
yams this week.
marshmallow thing is is
Yeah,
is is sus. It's
yeah,
it's it's pretty weird, I think.
yeah.
And when you're eating and you're having something candied, like for me, I would
Hmm.
much rather have pumpkin pie. I would much
Oh,
rather wait until the end and have pumpkin pie.
yes, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yes, I know what you mean. Uh, Max said his mom makes homemade cranberry sauce. The divine lasts forever, properly stored.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Beautiful,
Uh,
beautiful. Simply Steve's here.
Simply
Simply
Steve's here.
Steve!
Simply Steve. Wow. Hey, good to see you tonight. How are
Hey!
you doing?
I'm
Great
reaching
to see
out and hugging you right now. How you been? Good to see
you.
you.
Oh gosh, I keep falling behind. Comic relief is his pleasure for that. So, coma, yes, exactly. That's kind of the way it is. We'd eat and then take a nap during the first football game to wake up for the Dallas Cowboys for the next game. So
Yeah.
yes, plenty of naps too on Thanksgiving Day. Uh, Over here, Sashi said over in Malaysia, all you can eat style dining is mostly steamboat restaurants. You have to cook it yourself in a boiling soup at your table.
Uh-huh.
We
I've
actually
seen
have
this.
we actually have some of those locally, and the missus wants to go to those with the boiling pots, and that
Hmm.
you cook it yourself. So that's
Yeah.
but yeah. Buddy likes canned cranberry jelly and butter on Hawaiian rolls. All right. And,
Hawaiian rolls. That's a weird American thing that I think is totally cool. I still
yeah.
don't get the sweet thing. Like
Hmm.
I'm not into sweets. Everyone knows I don't like sweet stuff at all. I like dark chocolate, and I like popcorn, and I like chips and gravy and mashed
Yeah.
potatoes, and that's the kind of person that I am. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We're going to come back to this one towards the end. Because Steve asked, but so we're talking food. I'm going to come back to that one near the end, so everybody can hear about what's going on with you at that point, if you don't mind. Yeah, and Max loves hearing you tell us what it's all about. So
Love you, Maxie.
yeah,
Max. Maximum Redstone.
there you go. There you go. Yes. Hey, Rod. Love it. Love the lurkers too. Oh,
Yeah,
you've
Rod
asked
Thunder.
Florida for asylum. Oh gosh. So they cook them down from maple syrup and brown sugar like caramel sauce. Oh,
Oh my God. Pew, 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 pew.
shooter! I knew that sound. Raquel doesn't like sweet stuff because she's sweet enough already.
It's so good to see you. I love you. I'm sending you a
Yeah.
huge hug. How you been?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Shooter.
I love it when he can come, but the time zones always play heck with us and the great people in Australia. I love Australia.
It's
The only
hard.
problem with Australia happened in my 24-hour around the world stream last year, because there's a little spot in the bottom part of Australia called Eucla, and it's its own time zone, and it's like 4 or 5 city square blocks.
Yeah.
But it has its own time zone. It's on the quarter hour. It's so bad that Phantom Outsider has actually kept that little group in its own time zone back in 2023 until they get with the normal thing of our time zones, and it just is a bizarre. Sorry for that diatribe, but yeah, every time I see our great Australian fans, I think of that. No, it's actually smaller than Tallahassee, too. But yes,
Brian Hepburn says that he prefers Portuguese sweetbread, but our local Portuguese bakery closed. Wow, I had some in Montreal. There's a little Portugal. There's an area that has the most marvelous Portuguese artisans making all sorts of wonderful food in Metro Montreal. And oh my goodness, I could just hang out in a Portuguese restaurant all afternoon and just eat the roast chicken and the buns, and oh wow.
I've never tried Portuguese. I've had Spanish. I've had Puerto Rican, but never Portuguese.
Portuguese food is very good. Oh, you would love it very much. It's absolutely delicious.
We'll have to check that out. Hopefully we get a chance to check it out one day. Oh man, I know the missus loves our Asian market with things that they have there. So, but see, this is one of the problems also between all of our countries: the cost of shipping. Max said he'd send you some cranberry sauce, but 560. We know Max is a little stresses it, but you've experienced the problem with cost and stuff, right?
Yes, it does cost $563,293,193 USD to send anything to Canada, and you should feel happy because that's a discount.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's $1 million.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I got Fanny. He's like, it's got a population of like 30. They don't get to celebrate midnight a quarter of. Absolutely. But yes, all right, folks. So, folks, if you have any other things that you want, I forgot about cranberry sauce. You know, it's kind of like an accompaniment than a side. So, feel free to keep talking about the sides that you like.
My favorite plate: country ham, turkey breast, a mound, like a sickening. People look at your plate and point at it and laugh. Amount of champ, so Irish mashed potatoes,
right,
with a hole in the middle, so you can pour Mount gravy into it, so it becomes Champ Mountain, and its liquid hot magma is the gravy. Then you would have, if you can afford them that year, some very pretty sugar beets, little bit of Brussels sprouts covered in bacon, and a nice roasty toasty carrot.
How
And
do you make your Brussels sprouts? So, do you use like a vinaigrette, or do you roast
no,
them on the pan?
like I said earlier, I usually parboil them so they're a little bit soft because I do like them a little bit softer. I don't get grossed out by that kind of stuff because I'm Irish. So like I cook cabbage, right? But just for
Parboil.
everyone's,
What is parboil again?
like you just partly boil it and then you stop it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so you boil it for a few minutes so that it has moisture in it. Many restaurants, you'll see people making the huge mistake because they don't have enough experience. But you can go into many restaurants now, and they have the Brussels sprouts, and they chop them in half, and they drop them in the deep fat fryer, and they bring them out and they serve them. And I just that's gross to me. They need to have some moisture, and they need to be fried to where they're golden in a pan. And so I usually, just boil them for 2 or 3 minutes. Then I put them in the colander to remove any of the water. I cut them in half. I put them open side down into some butter with a little bit of canola oil to make sure that that you don't burn the butter. And then I add bacon, and I add a little bit of chili pepper and a little bit of garlic, and I just cover them, and then I douse the whole thing in the last 30 seconds with about a cup of chicken broth or
Mm.
turkey broth, and then I take them out and I serve them, and usually with a homemade ranch dressing. I drizzle it in a homemade ranch dressing, and that's usually how I serve Brussels
I
sprouts.
just had to hear you describe the whole process because I'm getting hungry now as we're talking. So it's not just you guys out in the chat. 29 people with us tonight. Wow.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you so
Thank
much for joining
y'all.
us. You guys are
Exactly.
such great company. We're having such a
Exactly.
wonderful time.
Love the feedback from y'all. Love y'all hanging out, and I appreciate y'all all being here. And make sure you hit the like button, subscribe it out if you can. Share it out. I'm inventing new words. We call it, Raquel, around here. We call it Dad Manese.
That's okay. Dad
Because
Manny's is good.
you ought to see when I've sent voice chats to the missus or to Lisa. These ladies have learned how to interpret what I'm saying
Hey,
and get
look,
my meaning.
I've received some of those too, and they're
Yeah,
quite funny, especially when
it's
I'm
like
out shopping. I read them to my husband, and my husband's like, "What is he saying?" I'm like, "I don't know. That's voice to text."
it's voice to text. I'm telling you, and it's really ought to see when I call the missus by her real name. It's what comes out very, very funny.
Yeah.
Uh, so Sashi's talking about a Portuguese dish called devil's curry in Malaysia.
Ooh.
They were over here in the 1500s. The local Portuguese community is studied by linguists because they speak the old form of the language.
Oh, nice.
That is interesting to see.
Brogu is going to go to Whataburger because we're making him hungry. Can I just say right now that I would love to go to Whataburger with Brogu. I've never been. I didn't have a chance to go to a location while I was down there, so I still have an unchecked adventure that I
Oh,
need to have in the United States, and I would like it to be
well,
Whataburger.
we'll get to Florida. We'll get you to one. We know where
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are.
yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime you're down here, just shout out. I like it, Steve. Voice to Rex. That's true. Lisa's laughing because she knows. Yeah. Uh, Lady Mist said when my mom moved in with me, I cooked her the Thanksgiving dinner she always wanted:
Oh,
king crab,
king crab. Ooh, that's
jumbo
expensive.
jumbo shrimp, all the condiments, garlic butter, homemade bread, several pies with ice cream. Wow.
So
Yeah.
that must have set you back at least 150 or $200. I wish I could do that, Lady Mist, because I'm not a fan of lobster. I don't like the texture, but one thing I absolutely love is king crab. It
Yeah.
smells good, it tastes good, it has wonderful texture, and it's really easy to manage too. It's not a huge production, but just atrociously expensive in Canada. It's so expensive, but it's delicious.
Yes, that sounds awesome. So, folks, if you do have a favorite meal, go ahead and share it out there with us. Since Raquel did it, we have 30. I'm not sure if this is a record. If not, it's one of the highest we've ever had.
Oh,
But I
wow.
am having a blast, Raquel. We always do when we talk food,
Well, I love hanging out with you.
Yes,
Can I
but
interrupt very quickly because it's
yeah,
super rude? But my buddy Shooter, he
yeah,
pew
yep,
pew pew. He's got to go, and so he says, and now I have to get back to work. Have fun,
yep.
folks. Shooter, it is so good to see you, sweetheart, and I hope we can connect again really soon. And I just want to thank you for always being there for me on Patreon and always supporting my books and my stories, and for just being funny and cool and just wonderful to be around. Yeah, I just miss you, and I'm just really grateful for your friendship. Thank you, Shuda.
Absolutely. Shooter, great to see you come by. And we have Alaska Jeff in the chat now asking, where's the option for German pork chops? I I gave a vegetarian option this time, so we'll do
I
it.
don't know. I like German pork chops. I must
What?
say, I must be very truthful and say that I
Yeah.
absolutely love German food. I know a lot of people don't raise their hand and say, I love German food, but I
Yeah.
do. I
Well, what?
especially love Austrian food.
Well,
Wow,
what
so
are
good.
German pork chops? I mean, if you could
Um,
have it for Thanksgiving, what are they? How are
um,
they different?
well, I'm actually not entirely sure, but I will tell you this: that a lot of the German and Austrian meat, they pound it out or they tenderize it, and it's usually like covered in marvelous gravy, and it's very tasty. I love chicken paprikan. That's like one of my favorite German meals, and
Hmm.
just all German food. Walk into a German or Austrian restaurant and just eat everything, including the Spätzle, and make sure you get extra cheese and extra gravy on your
Hmm.
Spätzle. So sometimes they make a Spätzle with cheese mixed into it, and
Mm.
they make marvelous stuffing balls, like dumplings, but it's like stuffing, and it's just glorious. But and they boil beautiful white potatoes just
Mm.
to the point where they're done, and carrots, and just they smother everything in butter, and it's just so good. And then you can have a beautiful, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, because we have the Dutch pronunciation and then we have the German pronunciation. But my ultimate favorite beer in the whole world is Hacker Pashore. So I hope I'm saying that correctly, but it is the most beautiful beer ever. It's
Wow.
better than the best champagne I've ever had. That Hacker Pashore is just so good.
Yeah. Universal Translator needs to have these plug in. Yeah, it does. And
Yeah.
Sashi, thanks for coming by. You take care. Great to see you
Good night, Sashi.
again. Yeah, exactly. Lady Miss had said that you had to put in extra hours to cover the extra cost, but it's for mom. So you do what you do.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, because you love them. And yeah, Comic Relief Crusader had to come and talk to me once about goulash on the stream because I'm like, I guess I didn't speak good of it because I apparently what I had heard my family talking referring to goulash was not the real goulash.
Well,
And
no, yeah,
that's
but you also have to understand that a lot of cultures have gone through times of war and extreme poverty, and not all recipes reflect the cuisine of that culture.
mm-hmm,
For example, like off the coast of Italy, when there was no meat and there was times were very hard, people began making a soup just boiling rocks. They
mm-hmm,
would go down to the ocean and they would boil, they would bring the rocks back and they would boil basically the algae off of rocks, and that would be the soup. So,
mm,
a lot of cultures, a lot of cuisines have been influenced by poverty and war. And so
mm-hmm,
when you can have one dish and folks will be completely enamored with it, they'll think that it's absolutely delicious, and others, they hate it. But it is because of these beautiful traditions and this culture that has experienced famine, strife, war, and these things that have influenced the cuisine in ways that people living outside of that culture can't fully
mm-hmm.
appreciate.
Yes, Rod. Yes, go Winnipeg. Woohoo! I know the Grey Cap is on. Let's go Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Okay, everyone in the chat, we're going to do it right now. Okay, we're just going to do it right now. One for Brogu.
Okay. There you go.
And
then,
one for Comic Relief. I don't know if I could do this. I have the worst flu right now, but I'll try.
you know what? This chat loves you so much. They'll take whatever. 75% is better than nothing. That's good. That was good. I could try wee, but it doesn't sound quite the
I couldn't
same.
talk until about 1 o'clock this afternoon because
like,
of the flu. But
well, I'm glad you could make it. Yeah,
yeah,
I was just some people
no.
are like to try to say Guagnar's name like his or one of the
Oh, I
others, and
love
I'm like, I know I won't do it because I will not do justice to what you do with these names and
You know,
stuff.
I really have to say, since you brought him up, I really have to say that Gwagnar has become a huge, like a close friend in real life. So what's wonderful is he lives in Calgary and I live north.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the opportunity to visit with him, and I just really love him. He's such a great guy, and he's so wonderful to be around. And I obviously I will never use his real name, but somebody who I love very much, who has also become a part of my private life in real life, is
Mm-hmm.
Enigmatic Drop Bear.
Oh
And
yes.
so I just want to shout those two fellas out for reaching into my private life and being there for me during a time of grieving and just being really good friends to me. So
Absolutely.
love you, Gwaggy, and definitely Enigmatic Drop Bear. Miss you so
Yes.
much.
Well, I had to skip over a lot of Snell says, but I think he's talking how about do pork chops. So folks,
Yeah, let's do
check those
it.
out. At you want to go to the pork chops real quick?
Yeah, no, do it. Just do it because
Okay.
listen, I'm telling you, when you ask people what their favorite food
All right.
is,
Yeah.
people seldom say
Yeah.
German and Austrian food. And I'm telling you, Dad, man, it is so good.
Okay. Well, 4 pork chop, salt, prepared pepper, prepared mustard, about 2 tablespoons flour, oil, butter for frying, 2 teaspoons prepared mustard. Use Dusseldorf Lowenstein if possible. 1 cup cream, preferably 35% whipping.
Ooh,
So, or he said
sounds
cream,
delicious.
but 18% will do. 1 cup
1
white
cup of wine.
wine.
Well, that's
So,
omnipresent in German cooking. They use the most beautiful wines, not cooking wines, but drinking wines, not sipping wines, but drinking wines to make their food. And
is
it's
there a
so good.
difference? See,
Yes.
I don't drink, but what's the difference between a drink? Because see, drinking, sipping seem like you're still consuming it. The same.
No.
I know it's a difference in technique of drinking, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of snobbery around wine that really shouldn't be there, and people act pretentious, and they really shouldn't. I think that if you're going to look at the art of drinking, I actually think that beer is more interesting than wine could ever be. But certainly, yes, there are drinking wines, and so those are wines that you would have a glass or two throughout the whole evening, and some people would have 3 or 4. I'm not a heavy drinker. I can only have 1 glass of wine, maybe a half glass more, but that's about it because I would just make me violently ill. So there's drinking wine. So that's something that you drink quite a lot of. You're going to be having, 6 ounces, 6 ounces, 6 ounces of it throughout the evening. And so it has a taste and a flavor and an attitude that you can drink over a long period of time. And then, of course, there are sipping wines that are incredibly expensive and are meant to be sipped and talked about, how they were developed, their nuances, the beauty of them, what they make you think, what they make you feel while you're drinking them. And it's an expensive, very, very pretentious thing. And why I say pretentious is I wish I could remember the fella's name, but there's a fella in France who is a part of the legacy vineyard people in that region. So basically going back hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 years, this gentleman's family has been producing world-class wines. And I saw him in an interview, and he was out in his field, and he was sitting on a log and he was drinking wine. And they were asking him, what goes into a $10,000 bottle of wine? How do you know when you have a $20,000 bottle of wine? And he starts laughing and he says in French, he says, well, I think he says it in French. The people, the merchants decide that. For me, what I like is I like my drinking wine. And literally he's sitting on this log drinking 10 buck chuck. Like the stuff that nobody would think that he would be, drinking. And so I just think it's really funny because if you take away all the snobbery of wine and get down to it, it's really just about taste. And no one should be intimidated by it.
Right. Okay. It's fun to pick on people like that sometimes, though. But
it is because what they're
I'm from
saying,
the
what
South.
they're doing is nonsense.
I'm from the South. I specialize in trying to get under people's skin. It's fun. It's a way of life for us Southern guys down here
Yeah,
sometimes.
but you really
Yeah,
should, because I think those
yeah,
people interfere with other people being able to
yeah,
feel like they can be a part of it, like they can
yeah.
experiment, that they can enjoy
Well,
themselves.
well, it's like the tennis players. When I was in college, we were hanging out at the baseball field. The tennis court's right next to it. So this is Division One college, and we started the tennis. We're out in a match. We turned. We were like, "Yay!" We were doing stuff like that. And then finally, the coach came over. Well, we appreciate your excitement and for the team and all, but can you tone it down? And we just looked at him like, "Really?" So we just started doing golf claps for him after that. I think the problem was we got inside of one of our own players' heads because he was, anyway. But that's a long story.
Yeah, snobbery is
Yeah,
not an
yeah,
snobbery is not a nice thing, and people should not do that.
exactly. No,
People should not do that.
no. Snell said, "Okay, then you slash the edges off the chops so they won't curl when frying. Season the chops on both sides with salt and pepper. Rub a thin layer of mustard over the chops. Pour some flour on a plate. Heat the oil and/or butter in a large frying pan. Dredge the chops in the flour and then fry them until done for about 10 to 12 minutes, depending on thickness." Well, wow. That sounds awesome. Uh, then
See?
he then he said, remove the chops when done and keep warm. Add 2 teaspoons mustard to the same pan. Stir to loosen the remaining brown bits in the pan. Add cream and wine. Bring a boil to reduce a gravy. So,
Right?
and salt to taste. All right.
Yeah.
And Brogu said he loves you, by the way. So
Oh, I love you too. I love you so much.
yeah, more outstanding jobs. Yes. Um, let's see. So we're gonna. I want to come to that article and let you talk about it just a second before we're going to switch gears before we go into desserts.
Okay.
So now, just so you can prep for that, a couple other questions. Mrs. asked, "I've heard that you should not cook with wine that you would not drink."
Okay, you have received good advice. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then
Sipping
Max
wine
said,
is too expensive to use while you're
mm,
cooking. It's just
"Okay."
way too expensive. Don't do that to yourself. If you want to spoil yourself and have an adventure where you're tasting something and you say to yourself, is this actually
No.
good? Is this quite lovely? Am I going to
Right.
share this bottle with everyone, and we're all going to have 3 or 4 ounces each, and we're
Mm,
all going to celebrate that we got this beautiful bottle of wine? That's not what you want to cook with. But absolutely, that you received wonderful advice. If you would drink it, you can
yeah.
cook with it.
Well, it's funny. All the holidays, you got the alcohol. The jokes about relatives coming over and get out the alcohol and to deal with it and stuff. Because right down here, it's like Jeff with I think grape alcohol lovers are just a bunch of whiners, and Brian's like the relatives are coming over. Break out the boxed wine and hide the good stuff.
Well,
So,
boxed wine
uh,
sometimes is better than the good stuff, though. It really
yeah,
is just
yeah,
about your palate,
yeah,
your taste, and what you think. But
yeah.
as far as erecting all of these social cues and this fortress, this big
Mhm.
cage around wine, as though only rich people or wealthy people can fully appreciate it. These people, they simply don't know what they're talking about. First, that's patently
Yeah,
false. And second, have you ever looked into the world of beer?
no.
Wow, is beer ever interesting? My husband got me into beer. I
Mm,
didn't drink it before, and just being exposed to, I think I don't even know how many beers I've had now. But in the beginning, I think we started with 100, and we really got into all of these beers around the world. You would
mm.
not believe the variety and the beauty in it.
There is a place in the States called World of Beer, and apparently they got like 200 or so many different versions of beer in
Yeah,
there. I had a
yeah,
friend once go in there when I dropped him off when the kids had an event. So it's like, got
yeah.
lost for a while. Lady Miss said she had a bottle of wine shaped like a fish that's 40 years old. Probably vinegar now never opened.
You know what?
Okay.
You know what? If you're not attached to it, you know what I would do, Lady Mist? I would 100% put that sucker on eBay. Highest bidder.
Well, I'm like JT Kirk. I do this with my coffee or my Coke in a wine glass sometimes.
Yes.
Pinky up, pinky up.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
SpongeBob told us, pinky up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, all right. So let's see. Okay, and you rotate bottles. Yeah, you have to. I guess that's one
Yeah.
of the things. Cooking wines are not curated. curated for drinkability, but the flavors will impart.
Yeah, but I've never had a good one. I've never had a good one. I've even had some friends who are also in the restaurant
No,
business recommend some to me,
yeah,
and putting them in is
yeah.
absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
What I can liken cooking wine to,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to disparage Retsina, but that's what it reminds me of. That Greek, um, like very it's hard to explain the flavor. I just don't enjoy cooking wine.
Mm-hmm.
Cooking wine is not good, and I wouldn't put it in anything.
Yeah, I like the humor out here. So put the box wine in a fancy bottle and see if you guys notice.
Well, can I
That's a
tell
great
you,
taste. Yeah,
Alaska Jeff, somebody did just that. And they did
really.
that to an entire group of world-class sommeliers. And the sommeliers could not tell the difference. Okay. They were saying all the same weird stuff that they usually say about how it tastes like tennis balls and cigars and how it smelt like fresh grass and all these other things. And it was $10, Chuck. And this is why I'm trying to explain to people that when you get to the science of it, it's not at all what the mystique that they try and put behind it. Whatever wine you like is the wine you like, and don't let anybody try and act like they know more than you, because they don't. Only you know you, and
Yep.
and the price of wine is incredibly arbitrary. Incredibly arbitrary.
Hmm. What in what regards?
Well, if you there's a wonderful documentary on this on Netflix where they talk about what it's like to be a sommelier and the whole business and how the business is structured, and who says that this wine is better than that wine, and people buying different bottles from one another in different vintages and things like that. And there was even a very large scam going on, a complex scam where they were taking good wine and old wine and mixing it together, and they were corking it as though it was these, as though the bottles were these old vintages, and that they were scamming people out of tens of thousands of dollars, I think maybe even millions.
Mm-hmm.
You should really watch this expose on Netflix, full documentary. And then they finally admitted what they had been doing. They've been buying cheap bottles of wine and mixing them with the expensive bottals and mixing them all
Wow.
together, putting fake labels on them, making them seem as though they're vintage. And here are all these highfalutin people buying $60,000 and $70,000 bottles of wine.
Wow.
And it wasn't any different than the table wine that you would receive at your local spaghetti house. So
Wow.
it's very pretentious. And
Wow.
I want everyone to feel like everyone is equal.
Absolutely.
It's not about how
And
much money you have.
and
It's
it's
about your
fraud,
taste.
and it's really fraud.
It is. It is.
When you label something up like that, and then you mix water it down and all that, yeah, it's definitely fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hello, Corey Cochran. It's all extra old grades. Yes, good
Yeah.
to see you tonight, though. Hey, uh, let's see. Can we acknowledge that fresh blackberry and mint lemonade is better than the alcoholic drink?
Well,
I've never tried that though, Jeff. But I
I
know.
think you might be onto something there,
Hey,
Alaska Jeff.
there you go. Well, let's hit this article because folks, think about your desserts and stuff like I had mentioned earlier. Let me take. We have 31 votes. What's your favorite non-turkey main dish? I should have used fish because nobody went vegetarian. Everybody wants meat for Thanksgiving. Ham at 52, lamb at 16, and beef at 32. Wow, quite a few for beef though. That's really interesting. Um, the missus says, honestly, if you enjoy it, does not matter the price. Yeah, but I think in this case we're talking about like when it's changed, like your fraud, it's misrepresented what it is. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I'm like JT Kirk, though, no bottle is 60 worth
No.
60,000 bottle unless it's from a shipwreck off the ocean floor.
JT Kirk, when I owned the nightclub, I was offered to take a sommelier course through this person that we were affiliated with. And I really have to tell you that I was drinking, like $200 and $300 bottles of wine, and I thought they were disgusting. I thought that they tasted nasty. I didn't actually like them. I enjoyed the drinking wine. I thought the drinking wine was really nice. I thought it was nice to have with steak. I thought it tasted delicious, and I thought it was good. So I'm somebody who will proudly admit that I like $20 wine. I do. I don't care what anyone thinks.
I forgot to say hi. Hey, that's okay. That's okay, Corey. You said hi now. It's easy to get. I tell you, I'm intrigued too. I'm having to keep my attention going. I'm enthralled with this discussion. So we're going to come back to the desserts in just a minute. But a lot of times people think of American Thanksgiving, and I'll let you talk on the Canadian Thanksgiving, okay? But with the American Thanksgiving, we think Plymouth Rock, the Native Americans, the Pilgrims and all that, but really, and yeah, it did start with that, with the brutal winter, and with the colony up there under William Bradford, organizing a celebratory feast. But where this really became an official national holiday, now some other states, state by state, remember, really federalism, states did their own things. States had different times where they adopted official holidays, including Thanksgiving. But where it really became was with Abraham Lincoln. This article from History.com says in 1827, noted magazine editor and prolific writer Sarah Josepha Hale, author, among countless other things, of the nursery rhyme Mary Had a Little Lamb, launched a campaign to establish Thanksgiving as a national holiday. For 36 years, she published numerous editorials and sent scores of letters to governors, senators, presidents, and other politicians, earning her the nickname of the, quote, Mother of Thanksgiving, end quote. So in 1863, Abraham Lincoln finally heeded her request. At the height of the Civil War, folks, because this is 1863 was Gettysburg, one of the largest, most famous battles, one of the bloodiest battles of the American Civil War. So 1863 was a time of complete turmoil. There was doubt which way would the South win, would the Union stay together. So it was a really bad time in this country then. So he issued in 1863 a proclamation entreating all Americans to ask God to, quote, commend to tender care all those who have become widows, orphans, mourners, or sufferers in a lamentable civil strife, and to heal the wounds of the nation. So he scheduled the first Thanksgiving for the final Thursday in November, and it was celebrated on that day every year until 1939, when Franklin D. Roosevelt moved the holiday up a week in an attempt to spur retail sales during the Great Depression. Roosevelt's plan, known derisively as Franksgiving, was met with passionate opposition, and in 1941, the president reluctantly signed a bill making Thanksgiving the fourth Thursday in November. That's where we have Thanksgiving in America, on that particular Thursday. And Stunning, good to see you. Welcome in, sir. How are you tonight? So, and before you start, let's see, Snell said he wrote a piece and was told that it was like reading an unpublished Edgar Allan Poe,
Oh, wow.
And he was proud.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Oh, gosh. J.T. Kirk, tell Max, if you give Counselor Cameltoe a $5,000 bottle of wine, she'll be tipsy enough to lose you and shout, "Where are you?
Where are you?"
Oh man, just don't get me started on that, Riker. I mean, all I can think of Riker and the alcohol and wine in Riker's hands. I mean, it's amazing the Enterprise never got shipwrecked with him or destroyed. But hey, and so that's we know that American holiday has its origins from that first Thanksgiving, the original colonists that came over, but then it officially became a national holiday under Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. What I learned with this was that FDR tried to move it for marketing, to help sales and help business, but it was fought back because it was not the right day, and pressure was put to move it back to the fourth Thursday of November. That's why we have the modern Thanksgiving Day in America. Mm-hmm. Now, while we came together too, is to hear what Raquel thinks. We talked about the food, the side dishes, and all. But what was the start of the Canadian Thanksgiving, and why do y'all celebrate it when y'all do?
Well, I've received lots of questions about this, and especially on Saturday Night Star Trek, people were like, "Why is it different than ours?" Mm-hmm. Raquel, what's going on here? And so I would always say to them, well, we'll do that. We'll talk about that another day because it's actually a really, really complicated story. And so I found an article. It's from a newspaper, and I think that it does a decent job of explaining this convoluted story of how Thanksgiving started. Because of course, the first Thanksgiving was actually in Canada, not in the USA, and how the USA
What?
adopted. Yes.
What? Not
How the
America?
Yes, and how the
America.
USA adopted and why the USA adopted this Canadian holiday. So this
All
one
right.
is, I think this article really gets into the meat of it and gives all of the evidence, although there is one part that I should add that hasn't been added to it. So I'm going to be reading this. This is from Jessica Vomero, dated November 20th, 2018. Why Canadian Thanksgiving falls on a different day than American Thanksgiving. So here we go, folks. Don't worry, it'll be quick. I'll read as quickly as possible. While Canada and the United States share many holidays, including Christmas and Labor Day, Canadian and American Thanksgivings are held almost 2 months apart. Canadian Thanksgiving takes place on the second Monday in October, while American Thanksgiving falls on the fourth Thursday of November. Canada's celebration, has often been credited to it getting colder the further north you go, and therefore having an earlier harvest. However, while both Canadians and Americans enjoy turkey dinner, football, and a day off the respective Thanksgiving holidays, Canadians' giving thanks festivities may actually have begun earlier in history. I don't know why the person put may have, because we already know this stuff. In 1620, in the 1621 feast between Native Americans and Pilgrims, it is a well-known origin story of American Thanksgiving. Canadian Thanksgiving, however, may have begun much sooner. The holiday can be traced back to the explorer Martin Frobisher's third voyage to Canada in 1578. Frobisher was an English explorer who arrived in Newfoundland while searching for the Northwest Passage. After Frobisher and his crew arrived, they ate a meal of salt beef, biscuits, and mushy peas to celebrate giving thanks for their safe arrival. So they were terrified that they were going to die, and it was really, really rough. So they were just giving thanks that they were alive. Mm-hmm. The holiday was not declared a national holiday until 1879. Parliament declared November 6th to be a Thanksgiving holiday, and it remained this way until 1957. Protestant ministers began petitioning the colonial government for an official day to thank God amid the crisis of faith brought about by Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. While the religious motivations for the holiday eventually began to lose meaning, Canadian families looked to American Thanksgiving feasts as inspirations to host their own harvest feast on the holiday. In 1908, the holiday was moved to a Monday after railways lobbied to use it as a long weekend for visiting families. In 1921 and 1923, Armistice and Thanksgiving were combined to be held on the same date, though this was short-lived and they were eventually separated. So at one point, it was even a celebration of armistice for us. The official date of Thanksgiving varied until 1957, when the government passed a law to ensure that Thanksgiving would always be held on the second Monday of October without having to redeclare the holiday every year. How did American Thanksgiving get its date? The first American Thanksgiving was celebrated in 1621, when the Pilgrims and Native Americans shared a harvest meal. However, Thanksgiving celebrations were held sporadically in the United States for over 150 years, according to the documents from the Smithsonian Museum. While they tended to be autumn festival celebrations, this wasn't always the case. In 1789, the member of House Representatives Elias moved that a day of giving thanks be held to thank God for the Constitution. The motion was approved by a Congressional Joint Committee. And it goes on to talk about how President George Washington declared the American people would observe a day of public giving thanks and prayer on October 3rd, 1789. So there you have the history of Canadian Thanksgiving and how it
Right.
influenced the American Thanksgiving and why it's different. So as you can see, you have all these different things moving around. And what's funny is if you go to the Canadian Encyclopedia, the folks who were staying in Canada before Canada was even Canada, a lot of the people who were in charge of these little villages and these little encampments, they were actually telling people to have Thanksgiving because they were terrified that people were going to get scurvy. So it actually came out of a tradition of trying to help people not to have scurvy, and
Right.
it was really about trying to bring people together under God after the crisis of the Charles Darwin's book, and then of course also using it as a way to celebrate armistice.
Well, I really like this article because I mean, I know Max asked about the George Washington Proclamation, and that was for one day in November 26th. But the article also talked about how it was inconsistent in the United States. They were talking about states or national or whatever, because it continued to be. The article continues on to say it was celebrated in the U.S. on and off depending on who was president and when they declared it. Because Thomas Jefferson believed it was a conflict of church and state to require people to observe a day of prayer, and he did not declare a holiday at all. Then President James Madison proclaimed Thanksgiving would be held on April 13th, 1815. And no other president declared another day of Thanksgiving until Abraham Lincoln did.
Yeah, you guys argued and fought over it for about 150 years, and you weren't sure you even wanted to celebrate it.
Yeah. And then, of course, FDR comes in and breaks with tradition and tries to do his thing. And then he eventually signs in 1941, signs it into law, officially marking Thanksgiving Day in the U.S. as falling on the fourth Thursday in November.
Yeah. So it's really crazy. So so that's the story. And I know that the Canadian reason is very convoluted, but that's the truth.
Well,
it wasn't, Frobisher coming here and meeting with the Aboriginal people, and it's not the same as it is in the United States, that has all of this big social story around it. In Canada, it was really about Frobisher surviving, the people surviving and eating salted beef, which I don't think would be a Thanksgiving meal. And then you have these guys who are running these camps where people are arriving and they're getting sick and they're dying. So if we don't have these Thanksgiving meals, what we're trying to do is really get rid of scurvy. And then we move into this idea of, we really have to keep this Thanksgiving thing alive because look at what Darwin has done to everyone and what they believe and what they think, right? And then we have armistice. And then we have the railway guys coming in and saying, look, we need another holiday. And then, so at one time, like I said, it was even about armistice. So,
Well, we got some funny ones. Yeah, Stunning, who's up there in Alberta, I believe also. He says, we celebrate in October because it's before it snows everywhere. We get to enjoy the fall leaves before they die. And Jeff Newitt, Alaska, has the same problem. There's a foot of snow out there right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Just, you don't want me driving it. Broger said he's with you. Viva la Canadian Thanksgiving. Let me grab my passport.
Come on up.
Oh no, the Jonas Brothers, are they still a thing?
Gross.
Oh man, I think that's where Tina is watching that game. Tina the Naughty Dragon, one of our viewers and mods. Hey, we are graced with a limerick from the great Max Redstone. Should you read it?
No, you please go ahead, because after reading that article, because I have such a terrible flu.
Okay. I will do my best to read this limerick. To cook a turkey, there's many a way. Fry it or brine it or cook it in clay. A beet or a yam, a bird or a ham. The best to you all on this Thanksgiving Day. Yay, Raquel.
That was a wonderful reading.
Yeah. Oh, they want to change it to RM Briggs Day.
Broku, I love you.
Oh, Max said salted beef is better than death.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. And the thing is that whole thing with it being celebrated as a part of armistice is a
Yeah.
huge thing, right? Especially for me, because when I see people put up their Christmas decorations before Remembrance Day is over, I get really upset about that thing. Like I'm not somebody who's quick to wrath. I'm even made fun of sometimes for my patience.
Mhm.
But that is one thing that I get really, really super annoyed about. I don't like
Yeah.
that at all. You know,
Well,
you
JT,
guys have Veterans Day.
yeah,
We call it Remembrance Day. But
right.
watching people celebrating when they really should be taking that time to,
Somber. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't, like, for me, I'm not turning on my Christmas lights until until sometime later on this week, right? It has to be after Remembrance Day.
No, Guagnar says no Christmas decoration until after November 11th.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
Greg. Like, why do people do that?
yeah.
Why? It's so bad.
And Brogu's birthday is October 13th. I think that's why he was.
Yay!
Yeah. Now JT asked the question, because we got all kinds. We got pilgrims, natives,
Yeah.
comically turkey, all the stuff. Did Canadian Thanksgiving have any mascots? I mean,
No.
even like male and female pilgrims. One grocery store had them out there, and they're associated with their marketing for Christmas.
Yeah,
So
we
no,
don't have anything like that. And like I said, so I think it was really like, especially for the cutoff of when it was joined with armistice, when we had decided, that armistice is about, it's not calling a truce, but it just means that you're going to stop fighting, but it doesn't mean that it's
yeah,
the end of the war. So it's very closely related to that for that's embedded in it for Canadians. So so
Yep.
it has a different meaning, a different tone, right?
It's and like look at this. We talked about this earlier. Study said they got the Christmas decorations before Remembrance
Why
Day.
do they
In
do that,
Well, in
Stunning?
this country, in this country, it's before Halloween. It's so bad.
Oh yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah, I'm like Steve. I'm like, wait till after the U.S. Thanksgiving. Like I said, that
Yeah,
moment that Santa appears in Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, now it's time you can do it all.
yeah, exactly. Open up the floodgates. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jill, it's, oh my gosh, you would not believe how bad it is.
yeah.
It's really bad.
All right. Yeah, Jill says to feel better, because she
Yeah.
didn't realize you're still ill.
All
Uh,
week while I have been texting my daughter, I voice text my daughter over the walkie-talkie.
uh-huh.
And when I walkie-talkie her the other day, she just got on and said, "Mom, you sound like Morgan Freeman. You're going to have to go to the doctor soon."
That's
So I mean, it's slowly getting better, but
yeah.
I would really like to be
Well,
free of
good.
it.
Well, Jeff is renegade. His lights are already up, and so is his tree. And some
Well,
people do. It's just it happens, but I like to at least get past Halloween
yeah,
personally.
you have
But
to you
yeah,
have to get past, you really must observe uh, and
yeah,
show a tenderness and an understanding and a respect for Remembrance Day, or in the United States you call it Veterans Day.
yes. We
So
just
we
had.
need to remember the people who gave us our freedom, right?
Yep, absolutely. 111th Grey Cup. I've seen black and white footage of some of the Grey Cups. Rod, if you don't mind telling me the score, let me know in the chat. Because
He'll put the score up.
I'm in support for Tina the Naughty Dragon, one of our great viewers and mods around here, all for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, that's what oh gosh, Gragnar's now requesting shin kicks for Alaska Jeff.
I don't think we have that icon here. I don't think Dadman and the Dadman clan have my shin kick icon here, which is usually a lady's foot in a stiletto, in a red stiletto heel. But yeah, shin kicks.
There you go. That's the best we can do. And being from out, it does cause a little issues this year with it being so late, close to Christmas. You wait after Thanksgiving, only have 3 weeks. No, you keep them up till January 1st.
Some people go past that time
Yeah.
because they're German, or they're
I think
Ukrainian
the Three Kings.
Orthodox, or
I
they're
think
Russian
some with,
Orthodox.
and I think some with the Three Kings Day, which is after it's a
Yep.
later Christmas.
Yep.
So, oh yeah, just they had Halloween decorations on the shelf just after
Why?
Canada Day.
Why?
Yay, Bombers! All right, woohoo!
Rod.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, I understood. There was a Texas school district that where somebody I knew was working on Veterans Day, and I was like, "How do y'all not have that day off?" It was they did for the students, but the teachers still had to work. So,
That's crazy.
but Steve is saying, "Talk to Dr. Crusher about your throat. You need to get the feeling better." Yes,
Acting captain.
yes. I tell you what, though, at least it's not that other doctor that appeared for that one season that nobody liked. In Next Generation, the blonde
You
lady.
mean Pulaski?
Okay, that's probably her then. Yes, exactly. So that was a one season. So Brogu said, speaking of shin kicks, makes him think of the UFC fighter kicked the other fighter and his leg broken too. Wow. Yep.
You mean Anderson Silva?
Oh, okay. Well, you follow MMA or UFC?
Yeah, when we owned a nightclub, like we owned a restaurant that had a pub, and it turned into a nightclub.
Well, if you ever
And
want
we
to
used
talk,
to sponsor
uh
many of the upcoming fighters, amateur and professional boxing.
well, I tell
So
you what, if you ever want to talk odd sports and stuff like that, I'd love to have you on to do it because you went to bull riding recently.
I did, yeah.
That was
I went to the
fascinating.
PBR.
I tell you, I'd talk your ear off about that for a while, just because I think it's fascinating. I had a cousin growing up that did local amateur rodeo around here, and that's talk about tough.
Yeah.
So we still have 29 people with us tonight.
Oh
All right,
wow.
yeah. Well, we'll have to. We've been on 2 hours and 5 minutes. I tell you, it's like
Hasn't felt
time
that long to
flies.
me.
I just wow. Well, let's talk dessert before we run out of
Okay, well
time. Then.
we'll talk dessert. I just want to just say to everyone in the chat, thank you so much for being here. We're just so happy to have you, and thank you for your company and all your great ideas and your recipes and your traditions and your
Mm-hmm.
jokes and all the wonderful things you're saying. I want you to know how much I appreciate your company.
Absolutely, it's wonderful. And Gragnar said, "Come up for
Yeah.
the Calgary Stampede." All right. Oh yeah. See, I agree, Burgu. I did not know that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
yeah.
really I love all pancration. So any of the sports related to pancration, I like, I like Muay Thai, I like kickboxing, I like boxing, I like MMA,
What did
mixed
you think
martial
of
arts.
the boxing
Well,
Friday, Friday
you know
night?
what I thought because I lost my mind on X because of the things people were saying. It was
Yeah,
uh it was pretty
yeah.
ridiculous what people were saying.
That was the oddest thing because it was buff. I would literally fall 2 rounds behind the missus. We were doing a stream on
Yeah.
Friday night talking about it. It's like next thing she's like, "It's round 8." I'm like, "I'm on round 6. What's going on?"
Yeah.
We didn't have the buffering in terms of not being able to see. Mine froze once or twice, but I mean, we really were better off than a lot of other people. But I described it to the missus. I said it was more like dancing with the boxers because it was not boxing,
The
but
pixelation was just ridiculous. It
yeah.
was weird. It was like, it was absolutely. I just can't believe that Netflix, got away with that.
Well, did you see the undercards? Because the undercards, like he said, the ladies bout before did the best job all night. Mrs. said the same thing. I mean, we actually had
Well,
blood in that one.
that was savage, but I mean that was done on purpose, right? It's trying to raise the profile of ladies boxing, and it's really about trying to get the prize money, trying to generate buzz around it, and try and elevate the profile of ladies boxing, and that's why Serrano and Taylor got themselves involved with that and decided to
Hmm.
do that rematch, right?
Yeah,
Um,
they were fun to watch, though.
I mean, I thought it was a good fight. I mean, I think at the same time, I
Hmm.
don't want to get myself into trouble and make people angry with me, but it's also really important for people to not just follow whatever the commentators say, because
Oh yeah.
boxing is a very technical sport,
Oh,
and
hey,
when you
Raquel, let me just help encourage you. When it comes to my channel, and especially in the world of sports, when you make people mad, that's a good thing. I have had so many rants lately about the Florida Gators coaching situation,
Yeah.
and I feel free. I know a lot of people don't agree with my takes on sports sometimes, but I let it fly. So if you got an opinion, let it fly when it comes to the world of sports like that.
Well, the thing is that it's not really about opinion, though, right? It's about how you score boxing, and it's
Yeah,
about what happens in
because
boxing. And the thing
everybody
is
said the
that
one fighter got messed over, though. Yeah,
yeah, but she didn't. The thing is that first of all, her reaction was incredibly bad form. She said that the Texas judges, the all Texas judging panel, she knew that they were
oh,
going to be, and I quote, shady. I don't know why she would say that and what she was trying to imply. I don't think that the Texas judges are any different than any other judges, so she should not have said that. I thought that was really bad. She also said that that Taylor was cheating, and
mhm.
Taylor wasn't cheating, and she said a number of other ridiculous things that she shouldn't have said.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I think Serrano's coach failed her, and
yeah,
how he failed her is she's a southpaw and she's fighting against somebody with an orthodox stance,
right.
and then rather than training the girls so that there isn't that head collision, and that head collision is very common when you take a southpaw and you take an orthodox stance and you put them against one another. And if you want to see what I mean,
Mhm.
draw it out for yourself.
Well, it's kind of like the lefty righty sitting next to
That's
next to
exactly
each
it.
other at the dinner table. Lefty righties will always complain, and they try not to sit next to each other because they're always colliding.
That's exactly it. And so it's when you're ducking and dodging, and you're trying to avoid being punched, and you're trying to also punch, and you're not responding to it. I did see quite a bit of head collision, but I
Yeah,
did not see somebody headbutting
right.
another
There's a
person.
difference.
And even the tape that they showed on
Yeah.
Netflix that they isolated where they did the replay, I mean, people who know boxing they were universally really upset by that because it very clearly showed that it was a collision, it wasn't a headbutt.
Right.
And
And there
so,
is a difference. Headbutt and
yeah,
collisions are different things. They're very important.
that's true. And so for me, I was just upset because the commentators were really shaping what people thought. And I really do feel like Serrano's management
Hmm.
and her team failed her. They failed to prepare her for fighting an orthodox fighter. I think she wanted to stay really close to Taylor
Yeah.
because she was scared that Taylor was going to open up on her. And every time they tried to open up on one another, they just kept on colliding heads.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
And
grab.
and
Yeah.
and it was a collision, not headbutts. And the tape clearly shows that. There are no two ways about it. There's no opinion involved. And
Yeah.
and so you have all these actors and other people that are doing the commentating for this fight, and
Hmm.
and then you have these professional judges. And so of
Well,
course I agree with the professional judges, and I don't know what was being implied by saying that they were the Texas judges and that the Texas judges are shady and all these other
yeah.
weird things that her team and her were saying in the ring. But I don't think that. Um,
Hmm.
like I said, I don't know what's trying to be cultivated there, and I think that something not very nice was trying to be said there, and of course, yeah, I think it was a failure. I think it was poor sportsmanship, and I think that her team failed to prepare her for the fight.
Right.
Um,
Well,
and
I
and
know
as you
that.
well
Yeah.
know, if you're a southpaw,
Yeah.
a lot of trainers will try and get you to be
Change. Yeah.
dynamic and switch up your
Yeah.
stance. Exactly, Dad.
Well, it's like early days back growing up. They tried to make lefties righties. They
Yeah.
did with people that I know in the family. Played sports. It was like trying to convert you, and it's like,
Yep.
but oh great, hey, we'll go 6 hours a night after this topic. But Brogu was that I did not notice Mike Tyson biting his glove,
Yes,
but
he has an oral fixation, and he's actually done that for years.
I
So
know he
that
bit.
wasn't the
I know
first
he
time
chewed
he's done
ears.
it. Yep,
Wow.
it's not the first time that he's done it. He's been doing it for years. He that's just how he gets his frustration out.
Well,
And he's talked about it, and other commentators have discussed it with him. Suzanne,
Suzanne, hello, Suzanne. How are you tonight?
yeah,
great to see you here. Hey, welcome in. We're about to get to dessert, Suzanne. So you picked the best time of the night to arrive.
Yes,
We're
yes,
2.5 hours in almost, and we've not even made it to dessert. But that's like Thanksgiving Day. You get up, you eat about 1 o'clock, go watch the Detroit Lions, fall asleep, wake up, get more food, watch the Cowboys, take another 6 o'clock nap, into the game and into the night, and have more dessert later at night. But
Yeah.
welcome in, Suzanne. It is so good to see you. But I will end the boxing with this. Who the hell had the idea to hire Rosie Perez as commentator? My wife said on the stream, she's like, Rosie Perez is commentating. I'm like, what? I couldn't even believe it. I had to turn around and look. It was like, I mean,
just so biased and coming into the fight saying horrible things
I tell you,
about Taylor not earning her fights and all these other strange things she was saying. I just found it incredibly unprofessional. And of course, Mike Tyson didn't show up at all.
Listen. I tell you what, I'd love to talk with you a lot longer and about because you're a broadcaster. You talk, you communicate. I have huge problems with modern sports journalism. It's not journalism. It's not commentary. I mean, they all recite this AP copy wire. They also they do not are not able to think on their own and stuff. That's why I'm yelling and screaming at the TV or coming on YouTube to rant and rave because, like I will say real quickly, like the Florida Gator coaching situation, all of a sudden they got a few fake wins and stuff about easy. They forget what happened at the beginning of the year, the previous 2 years, and I'm like, they don't know what they're talking about. But I'm sorry that, like I said, if you got opinions, shout them out because I will go off. Jeff, take care.
But Jeff, good night, Alaska. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. I enjoyed your company immensely. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Tell us what your favorite Thanksgiving dessert is, Jeff, on the way out.
Yes, before you leave, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat.
All right. Well, let me see where we are with the poll. I'll close. Let's see, 34 votes. I will end the poll. What is your, because if I don't close the poll now, I am going to forget about it. I always do. Lisa always reminds me, Mrs. always reminds me that I forget to close the polls. Your favorite non-turkey main dish for Thanksgiving? Ham 55%, beef 29%, and lamb at 14%. And nobody wants vegetarian for. Look at these desserts coming in early. Ice cream, banana pudding. Sweet potato pie.
That would be good. That would be delicious.
It's like taking those yam sweet potatoes, having them at the end though. So what is your idea? What type of, we talked about your normal entrees, your sides. What are the desserts you like to serve for Thanksgiving? Or I want to say that, what are your favorite? And then secondly with it, what is maybe a more traditional Canadian dessert? Is it like American or is it uniquely different?
Well, I think a lot of people in Canada do the pie thing. Many of them do the pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie here is quite a popular thing. If you go into Safeway, if you go into the Walmart, the Walmarts that have groceries in them, not all of them do, but you'll see blueberry pie, you'll see cherry pie, and you'll see lemon meringue pie, and you'll see pumpkin pie. And for me, at my table, I really love blueberry pie. I really, really love pumpkin pie. But one thing that the kids ask for that I can't ever get out of, and that is making traditional Irish bread pudding. So I make Irish bread pudding and it's gone. I send it home with the kids and I have to make it. Because they ask for it. And so that's a tradition, of course, that's a traditional dessert in Ireland. And so the kids always want me to make that for them.
All right. Well, we're rolling out another poll here. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dessert? Ice cream and pie just have to be generic in general. You can specify in the chat any specifics. Bread pudding and cookies. So, all right. So, hey, feel free, vote early, vote often, as we do in America.
That's very cheeky and very cute.
There's some serious streams I get on and I want to say it sometimes, and I've got so used to saying it, kidding around, that I have a hard time cutting it off. So, but some interesting like tiramisu, yeah, and bread pudding. Those are two that I've not thought of as Thanksgiving. desserts specifically. Lava cake. Lava cake, that's different. That's
Oh,
interesting.
are you killing me, Stunning and Brave? That's right up my alley. Lava cake is absolutely delicious. Just
Mm.
dark chocolate, very little sugar, super rich. Put a whole bunch of fresh berries on it. Now you're talking. That's my kind of dessert. I don't like sweet things.
Yeah.
So a lava cake, Stunning and Brave, that
Yeah.
is delicious,
Well,
especially the ones from Costco.
yeah. Well, Suzanne is up my alley, and you don't just have one; you have a whole plethora of stuff. I
Yeah.
like a cherry pie. I'm more partial to cherry of the fruit pies. Cherry pie, French chocolate pie, or French silk pie. Definitely pumpkin pie, and you gotta have with the pumpkin and the cherry. You gotta have the Cool Whip, whether the spray bottle or the real stuff in the tub. Now, Brogu likes pecan pie. That's definitely popular here in the
Pecan pie is
South.
good.
How did you say that?
Tiramisu,
No. This one here. Also,
pecan pie.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're Canadian. I love you. Thank you. You say it right. Pecan.
Well,
Everybody around here gives me hell. It's pecan.
well,
Pecan.
I
And I'm
think the
like,
thing is that pecan and pecan. I think you can say it either way because I believe that if you look it up and you do some research on the etymology of a pecan, of the word pecan, I believe that, or pecan, I believe that it is an Aboriginal word. So I forget which language it is, and I think that it allows for that variation due to the translation of its pronunciation.
yeah, like you said, it's the other way. But this is like Lisa and the Missus. They say pecan. You do that in a can. You don't.
Let me do that. I'll look it up in the etymological dictionary
Yeah.
right now. I will be
It.
very fast. Watch me do this.
I'm curious about this because it's been a running joke around here because everybody associates it with somebody using the bathroom in the can, like pecan instead of pecan. It's been a running debate around here, and Lisa, the Missus, and other people give me JT Kirk pecan.
Um,
Pecan.
yeah. Well, in 1712, Pacan, so Paccan,
Uh-huh.
was the North American pecan tree, or a related hickory. This is from the French for pacain, from an Algonquin word meaning nut, compared to Cree pacan, or hard-shelled nut. There's also a Ojibwe, which is bagon, and a Benaki, which is pagon. So whenever somebody
Yep.
brings up the pecan debate,
Yep.
I always let them know that it's an Aboriginal word, and the pronunciation is in flux because of its origin. So that's, you can't really say I'm right, it's pecan. You can't really say I'm right, it's pecan, because you would have to choose whether or not you were. I'm talking about the French pecan, Algonquin, a Cree, Ojibwe, Ojibwan, or
Uh-huh.
a Benaki.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you, though, because the way you said it is the way I say it. It's just thank you for helping. I'm going to use that to tell everybody I'm right going forward. But
Look at Stunning and Brave. Pecan. Well, you better get your prostate checked if you pecan.
yeah, exactly.
Off to your doctor.
Yeah,
Go get your prostate checked.
exactly.
Off you go, Stunning and Brave.
Oh, well, the Missus said she loves the fresh. I agree. Cherry, the fruit pies are better hot. I like hot. Oh, she likes it with the ice cream. I can take it with the Cool Whip and stuff. So Lisa said, I was wanting to watch a movie with Bridget Fonda and Nick Cage. Then I remembered Rosie Perez was in it, so she skipped it. Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
weird.
There
Haley's. She
there
was
are
so weird on
some
air.
there are some Walmarts still without the food aisles. Yeah, it's rare, but you can happen. There are some Walmarts that are completely grocery store too, so it's weird. So JT says, in pecan pie light from Tim Hortons. There's a lot of
Right.
love for Tim Hortons up there with the Canadian viewers and people from up north. So it's So Simply Steve said, pumpkin, yeah, looks similar to sweet potato pie, so I got to
Yes.
make sure I'm grabbing the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me right now? Get out of here, Lisa. Get out of
What did
here.
Lisa do now?
Look at what she
Pumpkin
just put up.
cheesecake with warm praline
Oh,
sauce. Well, what do you mean
ooh,
used to?
ah.
Thanksgiving's coming up. We need more pictures, So,
Lisa, send
yeah,
me some of that.
yeah, exactly. Yes. All right. So,
I love
oh,
Bailey's cheesecake.
Suzanne said, I think about the pecan. I just call it my hands off back away from the pie. And yes, B from O. So technically, both are correct.
Yes. So both are
Yes.
correct. As a matter of fact, a B from O, not only are both correct, but there is a variation from 1712 that would be pecan, which is spelled Paccan. Um, and of course, it's in reference to the tree, which is in the hickory family. And then we have the French influence, then the Algonquin influence, and then the Cree and the Ojibwe, and then the uh, Abenaki, I think it's pronounced, or Abenaki,
Mhm.
Aboriginal people. So there you go. You're okay. I
Okay.
covered your butt.
Thank you. Well, see, on my channel, I am always right. I'm dictator and lord, and I'm always right here. And that's why I'm serious. You ought to hear some of the football rants sometime. I've gone off outspoken what I said, and I don't. When it comes to my sports and my food, I take it seriously, and I know what I like. I'll say it, and I'll stand behind it. And one of the things, and a little serious here around here, I it's not an echo chamber. I hate echo chambers. I'm too old. I get grumpy, and everybody pisses me off that I gotta. The worst way to make me mad is to tell me I gotta think a certain way. I'm gone. And especially with sports right now with the football team, no. I can go on crusades with that. I'll go to war with that. But
Grogu.
I know it's like cool. These people are great out here. They're saying whatever they want to.
I love Brogu. He's apologizing. He's like, "What have I
No,
started with?"
this was a much needed topic, Brogu. I've got the communication expert here with me that I can parade around. I've got the film to remind Lisa and the missus that I can say pecan and be proud of it.
You can, you can. Did you know that Wes Kegel just put something in the chat that's totally freaking me out because that sounds so good. It's something I didn't even consider,
Oh, this
but
one.
perhaps one
Yeah.
should consider including
Yeah.
peach pie in their Thanksgiving celebrations. It has been years since I had a peach pie. I would love to have one. What a great suggestion.
That's a good tie. Yeah, absolutely. Well, peaches are great too. So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, when playing Fortnite and eating pie, yes, a pecan is appropriate. I, if I can, I'll start it. But hey, Brogu, thank you. That was a great topic with the pecan. So, butter tarts should have pecans. I'm not familiar
Yes,
with butter tarts.
they do in Canada.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. I have to look that up sometime.
Canadian butter
Yeah.
tarts, they
Yeah.
are so famous that people order them from all over the world. People order them and have them delivered to every corner of the world. People love Canadian butter tarts that much.
Wow, that's interesting. I think I might have seen this before. I
What?
think I did. I think I've seen these before. I had Comic Relief Crusader and Canadian Spider Man on one time, and I believe one of them told me about this. I'm going to bring up a picture of it if it here.
Yeah,
This is,
those are definitely Canadian, and I get
yeah.
requests all the time. Hey, will you please send me? Oh, those are mincemeat pies.
Well, okay, let me look again.
Those
Then
are
sorry.
mincemeat, and I
All
love
right,
mincemeat.
all
Get
right.
in my belly. Mincemeat pies are awesome.
Well, see, it's labeled as butter tarts. Dadgummit. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Let me try a different one. See, you're the expert, so you can tell me if this is right or not. So
All
feel
right.
free to.
Show me, show me. Oh yeah,
All
that's
right.
butter tart.
Oh wow. So
Yeah,
what's
baby,
on the
that's a butter
inside?
tart.
What's in this? Okay, when I think butter, I think the yellow blob of stuff and sticks.
Well, that's what
But
that is, darling.
what, the brown stuff there with the
That's
liquid
butter
in?
and sugar, sweetheart.
Oh, sugar.
And that one looks as though it's got currants in it instead of raisins.
Oh, normally has raisins? Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Simply Steve
That,
doesn't like mincemeat. Look, dude, like my mom is old. My grandparents are even older. My grandparents were literally born at the turn of the century. So like mincemeat, I'm used to eating it. I'm
yeah.
used to it. I
Well,
actually even like it now that I'm older. I should not even admit that in public.
I believe that the Mrs. brother is the one that likes mincemeat. I don't know that Mrs. does, but yeah, I know some people do like it. So Brogan said one of his favorite desserts is a cake this family used to buy at the bakery called an ambrosia. Basically, coconut and pineapple cake. Talk about delicious.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
absolutely delicious. I had one
Oh.
from Germany called, I think
Hmm.
it was called like a bee cake or something, and it tasted like it had those same flavors and it was delicious. I also love carrot cake with pineapple in it. Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe. I know it's like some great people. You guys got to come around often. I love this is one of the best chats around. This is the best chat around that I've ever. When they
Oh,
all come together, these guys rock and roll and they're funny as
great
anything. So
personalities. I mean, we know really
exactly,
good people, and when you know really good people, it's great.
yeah. So Mrs. got the ingredients for that there.
Yeah.
Oh, fruitcakes, New Jersey. Oh, you didn't meet the people. Wes Kegels always talk about the greatness of New Jersey. So, Max said mincemeat pies are, as I like to call them, Sweeney tarts.
You mean like as in like butcher tarts?
Yes, I think so. Pekansas is another one. Yes, there you go. One, let's see, Berger talked about ambrosia. It's
Mm.
the coconut pineapple cake. There is, we just call it the blue stuff. You
Yeah, but
know,
there's a difference between the like ambrosia.
uh huh,
The thing you have to understand about ambrosia is that it's different everywhere. And
right.
that is mostly due to churches. So if you grew up in the Baptist church, you know ambrosia this way. If you grew up in
The
the
blue
Catholic
stuff.
church, pardon?
The blue. I got
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's
So
usually
in
blue, but I
our
got a picture that's not
in
blue.
my
But go ahead.
churches growing up, ambrosia was not blue. It was actually quite good.
This is it.
Okay, that's not blue.
It's not blue, but it looks like it's. It
That's
looks like I
ambrosia.
was. Okay.
So ambrosia is usually because of it was used on picnics. It was also used by a lot of the church ladies to provide dessert to the whole congregation when there would be a potluck. What would you would usually have is a bag of mini marshmallows mixed in with Cool Whip and sour cream and a large can, a family can of fruit cocktail with the juice thrown away. So, and some church ladies would add mandarin oranges to it. Some of them would add canned mandarin oranges to it. Some would add nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Some would add, well, that's about it. That is church food. And very familiar to me growing up in the church.
Well, like you said, in the Baptist church, yeah, we can't go anywhere without that in the Baptist churches. But this is also in my family. It's like they've done it where it's a lot more blue or it's got a color, so they refer to it as blue stuff and things like
Yeah,
that.
that's probably because ladies, instead of using sour cream, would incorporate different types of pudding and even perhaps even Jello mix. So you can have some ladies that are using like pistachio pudding, banana pudding. They would throw all sorts of things in there, and that comes from the great tradition of doing all of those disgusting things with Jello, which also happened at church, and I did not mind it.
No,
I am
and
the little girl who would eat the Jello mold that was
yes,
like blue, that had like fruit cocktail frozen in time inside of it, um, frozen like Han Solo. I would eat that and gladly eat it. Of course, like I said, I had a very impecunious childhood. We were very poor, abject poverty. Used to do our clothes shopping at in the basement of St. Vincent de Paul's. So for me, that's like, oh, that's the 1970s dessert at church.
no. JT, Canadian Club whiskey. Yeah, I guess it could be a dessert.
Ah,
If
CC.
you, yes, yeah. So you never know. Now Lisa says she likes fruitcake and Stollen, a German bread with dried fruits.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
Now, I know Mrs. I don't want to miss one. Let me see if I started because there was one that she had. I don't want to miss. There was a question that she had, so I'll try to get back to the live chat. Uh, yeah, we don't want you to make a buttery fart, Brogu. Yeah, exactly. We don't know. And Steve says we Trekkie's got to find friendly ports somewhere since lost our starship at Hay. Well, Steve, I know you're around a lot. We appreciate you and every one of you, Trekkies, Star Wars, everybody else, and we're I got some ideas coming up on things, but hey, always love having you guys come around whenever we get together. Waldorf salad is one. Somebody said, Mrs. said nuts, marshmallow, pistachio pudding. That's right. That's what I'm thinking
mayo.
of there.
Ooh, they went for the mayo. That's pretty gnarly. I've never heard of mayo being added to it before, but I can see why. See why. But that
Cool
would
Whip.
be nasty.
And Cool
yeah,
Whip.
and always Cool Whip. Cool Whip is the staple, and the mini marshmallows. And often they would get the cheap ones that weren't the multicolored ones.
Right. Well, listen, this is what I do around here. Yeah, you can only eat two because it's very sweet. Because, Lisa, you are so sweet yourself.
Yeah.
You can only max out so much sweetness. So, no blue laws. Although we have been in places in Georgia and Alabama in the last couple of months that have the blue laws still on Sundays. So, it's I
also love those peanut butter squares, Lisa, from
yeah.
church. Do you remember the mini marshmallows that would be mixed with peanut butter?
Yep.
And they would be molded and then cut up like little squares. I absolutely love those. And although I cannot eat ambrosia because it's too sweet for me, I still like those peanut butter, those little peanut butter bars made out of marshmallows. I can't eat a lot of it because I don't like sweet stuff, but it reminds me of being little and being at church. And Brogu, no, I do not have a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, but I don't broadcast from it. I used to have all my cosplay up there, but I started receiving a whole bunch of nasty comments. So I just got rid of it.
Right. She's
so now I have
she's
my
great
stuff
coming on with us and slumming out with us and having a lot of fun to it. We do we promote thing, and she comes in with all her expertise and laughter, and we have a good old time.
Yeah, I don't need a YouTube channel, but if you ever wanted to connect with me there, it's just my stuff from books and the stuff that I made for Clobby. When Clobby would ask me to make stuff for his channel, that's all that's there. I had to take down all my cosplay. I received some very nasty comments, mostly calling me a narcissist and calling me a show off and a whole bunch of stuff. And I never did it for that reason. I only did the cosplay because everybody wanted me to. So
if you're going to cosplay, you got to do your best. You got to look your best. If you're going to cosplay, you're going to be seeking attention. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just took it down.
Yeah, Mrs. loves the jello modes with the fruit also. So, but yes, you can also follow
Mrs. Dadman. That's church, man. Isn't that church?
That's church. Absolutely. 1010. Max Redstone. We call it butt cake here. Butt cake, not butt cake. Butt cake. But also Friday, part of Mrs. Daily shows, Friday was National Butt Cake Day. So I actually made one for my mom, took it to her on Saturday. So Friday was National Butt Cake Day. So,
nice.
They're wonderful. Don't forget, we drop a bucket load of maple syrup on our turkeys. Yeah. Nanaimo bars, or is that what you were talking about?
Oh, I love Nanaimo bars. No, Nanaimo bars are uniquely Canadian, and they're so sweet. There is absolutely no way an adult would be able to eat one. I mean, people love them. I realize they're Canadiana. They're like the most Canadian thing ever, but I don't enjoy them. They're way too sweet. And Jill asks me, Raquel, what about the wooden puzzle videos? Yeah, I love putting together wooden puzzles. It's a huge thing, 3D puzzles and little robots and things like that. But I don't remember if I took them down or not.
Here's the Nanaimo bars.
Those are Nanaimo bars.
Okay, cool.
And sometimes they're green.
Oh, green. Oh,
yeah,
man.
So sometimes the filling is actually mint.
Oh, that could be cool.
Yeah.
So is the filling usually vanilla or like you said, it could be mint or it could be
yeah. People move, people shift the flavor around. All you need to remember is they don't really taste like anything but raw sugar.
Hmm. Well, I think the other bars she was talking about earlier, Mrs. talking about peanut butter and confectioner's sugar for those
It is
church ones.
confectioner's sugar in there, isn't it? Yeah, I love those. I usually get them at Starbucks because
Oh, wow.
that's the only place that has them anymore.
Mm. Well, yeah, yes, they're stunning, stunning. And Lisa always argue in the back seat of our car when we're on the road trip. So, family makes peanut butter balls,
Ooh.
Buckeye balls. Yeah, I've seen those forever. Yeah, I
Are
like
those
they
made
would.
out of popcorn? Beef from O?
I think it's just peanut butter and chocolate. I
Oh, it's
believe.
peanut butter and chocolate.
I believe
Ooh.
so. It's like it's big, but it looks like a Buckeye itself. Yeah, they freaked me out as a kid. I don't know, just an odd thing. I just could not get any further with that. So, but yeah. Let's see. They're chocolate peanut covered balls. All right, cool.
That
And
sounds
hello,
good.
that boy Tuna. Yes, it's
The
been so
boy
long.
tuna.
Good to see you over on our Twitch side, folks. If you have a Twitch account, go over and follow us over there. I appreciate it. Good to see you, Tuna. Hope you're doing well these days. So, all right. And Rogu says, can't wait to see you back here again.
Oh, I love
Absolutely
you.
love you.
And he
Well,
says, Raquel, is there an American dessert that you really love that they don't have in Canada? Well, it's pretty much like I love America so much. Like, as you know, I'm not one of those people who's like, I don't know, everyone enjoys saying bad things about America. I don't. I love American culture, especially as a hardcore Trekkie. I just love everything that you've created, creating Hollywood and comic books and all these beautiful films that you guys used to make and your beautiful food. I absolutely love America. I just love everything about it. One thing that they had around in the 1970s that isn't around anymore, but is available in America in the Mexican restaurants is quote unquote, like using deep air quotes, Mexican ice cream. And I think Mexican ice cream is like, it's like raw cane sugar, so it's amber colored mixed with brown sugar, and I think maybe cinnamon or something. And you roll a big ball of ice cream in it, and so it looks
oh,
like it's
wow.
deep fried and it's crispy. And I think there, I don't know if there's some type of caramelization happening. Like I don't know if somebody takes a blowtorch to it, but that's something that they have in America that I love. I love Mexican fried ice cream, but basically,
Yep.
Brogu, I love everything America. Like I love America. I
Now,
went
you
to
said
this.
you'd move to Texas if you could, right?
Yeah, if I had to move anywhere other than Alberta, I think it would be Texas
Well, hey,
because
you'd like North Florida, though. Don't go south of I-4. North Florida, you'd fit in really well.
yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
love I love Texas just because Texas has the same culture we have. That's all. It's just
Yeah.
like in people don't really understand what Alberta's like, but Alberta is like a big ranching cowboy, foothills of the mountains, the Rocky
Yeah.
Mountains, and people don't understand that. When they think of Canada, they think of cold. And they think that we're just all huddled together trying to keep one another warm, but that's not what the television show Yellowstone.
Right. Yes.
That's pretty much what Alberta's like.
Yeah. See, Wes Kegel's right. Florida. That's like I said. Our Panhandle's got beef. You got bull riding it stuff out there. So you just want to stay away from Central and South Florida. That's like New York moved down here. So we've had a lot of that. But Wes Kegel, talking about churches, Wes Kegel said bun cake was what all the mothers made for cake sale in Catholic school,
Yes.
except his mom, who always made a cheesecake. I love it. You got to be different.
Yep.
Got to be different. Lisa said she made something similar to these bars.
Oh, lovely.
Mint brownie with a hard chocolate top.
Yeah. That's basically what it is, Lisa.
Brownie on the bottom with a mint layer.
Yeah.
Ganache top.
That's basically what an Nanaimo bar is.
Oh, cool. All right. You experts with food and all out here. Wes Kegel hopes you live in Alberta. The rest is insane.
Yeah, I do. I live in the only sane place.
Yes.
Hey,
all right.
No problem, sweetheart.
Yeah, he said, yeah. Yeah, the fried ice cream, usually is there too. So Steve says you're an honorary Texan anyway. So
another thing I love about America is I can walk in and I could get myself a really nice cheeseburger and I can get a beer.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I
Yeah.
went to a Mexican restaurant
Mm-hmm.
in the South, and it's called Torchy's. I would just like to say on behalf of Canadians, I don't even care if Canada agrees with me. That Torchy's is so good, it's ridiculous. Like the food at Torchy's, like I could eat there 3 times a day. That place is awesome. So good.
Absolutely. I look forward to trying this stuff. That's one thing with getting on the road sometime, to get to different places, get exposed to different things. Lisa though says Spotted Cow is a beer you would like, but it's
Oh,
only
good.
sold in Wisconsin.
Oh, well, I'll have to get some the next time I'm in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Canada's weird. Canada. Sorry, I say that all the time too. Canada's weird nowadays. And then West
Yeah,
Coast
it
said,
is.
in America, you're still allowed to have all the pew-pews you want.
Yeah.
Dang straight. So let's check on the poll. Let's see where we're at with desserts. So, 78% of people like pie.
Yeah, big pie
11%
girl.
bread pudding, though. Wow, that's
Yeah, bread pudding's a big thing.
and ice cream and cookies are tied at 6%. So
Ooh,
that's interesting.
ah.
Pie. I mean, and again, I don't know if you said it, but if you had to pick one pie, what would that be?
One like a single pie?
Yeah, like if you had to make one pie for Thanksgiving or for whatever, if you had your go-to pie. See, like mine is anything chocolate, like a French silk, because I'm a chocolate addict. But I mean, I could do pumpkin or cherry when I'm in the mood. But if I really want one particular pie that I go to all the time, it's got to be a chocolate pie.
You're
And you
making this
guys,
so tough because I
and you
don't
guys in the
like
chat
sweets.
answer this too. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
love pie, and I think that what you're asking me to do is tantamount to what Abraham was asked. I'm kidding. Um, I don't know because I also really love chocolate pie. I love coconut cream pie. I love
Mm,
key lime pie. I love lemon meringue pie. I
mhm.
love blueberry pie. I love cherry pie. I love pumpkin pie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Uh,
pie. I mean,
I know.
pie. It's basically a religion unto itself. How can you can't get rid of one pie.
I agree. Like I said, I just gotta have the cool with it. When I get the pumpkin or the cherry, I gotta have it. So let's see. Lisa said lemon chiffon as a palate cleanser.
Yeah, nice.
What is a chiffon? Is that a pudding or a
Well, a lemon chiffon, she might be referring to an aperitif, I believe. Are you referring to the chiffon cake, or are you referring to the aperitif? You will have to ask Lisa which one she is referring to.
yeah, because it her use of terms has me thinking of something, because I'm familiar with the term aperitif,
Yes.
because this doesn't look like an
Cream
aperitif.
pie.
This doesn't look like an aperitif to me. It's like, now it depends on which type it is, because I see different pictures here. So this is what
Yes.
I'm pulling out right now. It's kind of like a pudding almost in a way,
There you
but
go.
no, a cream pie. Cream pie. Okay, I've seen others that are pies, but when I hear aperitif, and Mrs. knows the story. Disney used to, at Epcot had the sodas from around the world. One that they had was a soda from Italy called Beverly. They described it as an aperitif, like to cleanse your palate, all that stuff. It was worse than the worst cough medicine you would ever drink in your life. And I'm like, oh dear God, there's no way. I'm like, who drinks this willingly? This looks like something you would have or eat willingly. And I actually one time dared one of my nephews to drink it, and he did it nearly, and it just had to run out crazy. So, but it was, I just, oh man, but an aperitif. So an aperitif, how does it cleanse your palate? I guess is it that it gets away the savory and the like meats and the gravies
Well,
and before you eat.
you can palate cleanse with many things. Like many people like to palate cleanse with olives.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to palate cleanse, especially if they're doing a wine tasting or a wine sipping. They like to sniff coffee grounds. So a palate cleanser can be any number of things. It can be a liquid. It can be something that you smell. It could be something that you eat. It really depends. It's oh, there you go. That's quite beautiful.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like I wouldn't it be sweet and wouldn't it be like I don't because to me something to cleanse is to like go back to neutral for you to have the next
Yeah.
thing. But it's like if it's sweet, it would take overrun. But I do that stuff. Oh yes, yeah, it's worse than the worst cough medicine you could ever have. And the missus said we try to get our kids to tell people it was amazing and to try it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, no. The thing is that a chiffon is it's mimicking the fabric. It's reminiscent of the fabric of silk. So you're looking at
Okay.
something that is like very light, that is very like airy. So
Hmm.
that could be a pre-drink that you want to have. It could be a dress that you want to have. It could
That's
be a skirt, your favorite skirt. It could be a
Well,
cake. It
I
could
will
be a
tell you, the
pudding.
Beverly is the only thing you got to give somebody to make their taste buds go so bad that the worst food would taste like a 5 course from a 5-star restaurant.
Yeah,
It was so bad. It's
yeah.
like, oh, yeah, we used to offer money, but yeah, Vegemite milkshakes. Anyone? Oh,
Gross,
next,
gross,
yes.
gross,
All
gross.
right. Well, Raquel, let's see. That's desserts, folks. Let me check on this. And Raquel, we
Yes,
jumped
sir.
into this food really, really quick, but take a few minutes. Tell everybody what's up with you. And, it's been a while. How are you doing this day? How's the writing coming along? Uh, any plans you got coming up?
Well, I just finished my second book launch. I write short stories, and they're short story science fiction. And I have published 3 books. Well, 2 books are a collection of stories, of science fiction short stories, and the other is a novelette. Um, and I'm working on my third collection of science fiction stories. This book is going to be dedicated to my patrons. I'm working on the 4th story now, and I'd like to get it finished out next year, and then I will have 3. So if you like short stories that aren't trying to tell you what to think and not trying to, you know, admonish you and make you feel small. You just want to escape somewhere and go and have a good time and or decide on serious issues yourself. You might be interested in my stories because my stories do just that. I try to entertain you. I try to um, take you on a journey where you can grapple with science, technological advances, the fact that we might not be alone in the universe, and the various things that go on with technology and how it can be used against us, and how we need to be in control of it. If all of those ideas are intriguing to you and there's something you would like to explore, you can do that with my short stories. And
Mhm.
I have a Patreon, my books are on sale at Barnes and Noble in the United States, and they are also on sale at Amazon. And I would absolutely love it if you would please support my independent work, due to what is happening in science fiction today, where science fiction is heavily curated. Major publishing corporations are now really hiring people due to their private lives and their political beliefs instead of the actual stories. And I'm just focused on the actual stories and showing you a good time. So I really hope that you will stop by and buy a
Mhm.
story or 2 or buy a book and read it. And I hope you'll have a great time with it.
Absolutely, a chiffon dress, plenty. West King, I'll leave it to that. But yes, see, I do see. That's the way I look at the sports media industry right now. Is that they have the same people, they have to parrot the same political points and all this other stuff. People that either have maybe a Christian worldview or have been outspoken on some issues conveniently get fired and run off. But then they get the same people. But when we end up watching a game, it's like they read scripts. They have no ability to like tonight. Like I said, I'm going. I mean, when I do my sports, I say what I think. Will I get embarrassed being wrong sometime? Yeah. Okay. Fine. But you know what? That's part of making a decision, having an opinion, and standing on it. What you see, what you observe. And, it's like they made it all so homogenous that every friggin' announcer's the same on every damn network. And it's like, we can't get excited. And again, morally affronted at anything that's out of the ordinary in the games and all. Just I
Well,
like the old school announcers like Keith Jackson, oh Nelly. They all
yeah.
had their flair. Harry Carey, they all did it. Harry Carey was drinking his Budweiser most of the time, and you never knew what he would say. Howard
Yeah.
Cosell would come up and say stuff, but now it's just like nobody is allowed
Well,
to have
Howard
their unique
Cosell
character.
called people on it. He just came right out and said this is a jockocracy, and so there was very little room to do that kind of thing. But for science fiction specifically, as you know, I'm a communications and technology scholar, and I'm very interested in the way that technology affects human beings and affects humanity and society. And so for me, when I submitted my work to a major corporate publisher, one of the emails that I got back was, try somebody else. Right now, we're really focused on character. And I went away from that thinking to myself, wow, how could you be focused on character? Science fiction is supposed to be focused on ideas, not character. And that's why science fiction is such a great partner for short stories, because you get to explore ideas. When you start to write about character, you're not writing about ideas anymore. You're not writing about science and technological advancements. You're not writing about how technology can be used to abuse human beings. You're not writing about the dangers of some medical advance or some medical policy. You're not writing about science fiction anymore. What you're writing about is somebody's intimate life. And that's what happens when you start to write a novel. You have a great idea, but as you move through the novel to stretch the material out, you start getting into the intimate lives and the intimate thoughts and the relationships the characters have. And I'm all for that. That's great. If that's what you want to write, that's what you want to write. But for me, I think it's key to preserve science fiction as it was. And because science fiction as it was in the short story form enjoyed a wonderful time in American history and in world history when it was showcased in magazines. You could sit down and you could read something that was in short form that had a whole bunch of complex ideas about technology and medical advancements and all of this futurism that we're grappling with. And you would be left to ponder your thoughts on that particular mechanism, and you could walk away from it feeling edified. You'd feel smarter. You'd feel like you knew more about that topic, and that you'd feel confident in your own thoughts and your own opinions about that particular technology or that advancement or that change or that futurism. Now, with them saying, this is about character, they're really, if you go and look at what they're saying, they're really hiring people and publishing books based on people's personal lives. I don't want to be famous. I don't want anyone to know me. But you know what I do want? I do want my books and my stories to be famous. I want people to read them and say, wow, that stayed with me for like 3 days. I was thinking, wow, man, that's in the near future. That could happen. What if that happens? And that's what I want people to feel. What I want to have with my reader is a relationship that exists inside of the material. But for me, I'm not interested in being famous. I'm not interested in people, knowing what my thoughts and my feelings are. I'd rather discuss ideas. I don't want to talk about people and personal lives of people and intimate thoughts and relationships. I want to discuss ideas. And so we need to do that if we're going to preserve science fiction.
Right. And Raquel, I'm putting your Amazon link in there because
Oh, thank
Wes
you so
and Jill
much.
had meant just make sure that that's right. I got it from the
I'm
X
I'm
site.
sure it's right. I'm sure
Okay.
it's right. Thank you so
Right.
much.
And you can find Raquel out on Patreon. What do they look for? Is it RM Briggs on
Yes, it's
Patreon?
just RM Briggs. That's the name that I use, and that's of course a nod to all of the women in science who wanted to just fly under the radar and just publish science fiction, and so that's why I just use RM I would like to be the backdrop in all of this. It's okay if you don't know my name, but I want you to know my stories, and I want them to have a huge impact on you, and I want you to feel edified and empowered and entertained by them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. And folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap up in the next 2 minutes. But thank you, Raquel, for coming on. And I know, I mean, when I first announced this, I got a lot of feedback, people that have missed you, and, a lot of excitement. But thank you for wanting to come on tonight. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for being a great friend to me, and thank you for hosting. You're always a marvelous host. I enjoyed your company immensely this evening, and it's a great honor to be invited here. I just want to say thank you to everyone who came tonight to join in this conversation and to make this stream so much fun. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for
Oh,
the
it,
jokes, for the cool ideas, for talking about your traditions and all the things that matter to you. Because what you ended up doing was making an amazing conversation. And that doesn't happen without you and your personality being here. So, you, yes, you, I'm pointing directly at you. So, point at yourself right now. You are awesome. And I'm just so grateful for your participation and for your company tonight. Thank you, everyone.
All right. The great RM Briggs. I will tell you, folks, she's modest with that, but no, you make the stream go well, Raquel. Always a wonderful thing. We could talk about another 2 hours with some of the topics that came up tonight, but we are just short of the 3 hour mark. Can you believe it?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't think you and I have done any stream under 3 hours, or if there was one time it was 2.5 and we had a hard break or something.
Yeah.
It's really, and this is what YouTube should be about: fun and laughter and all this other stuff coming through. Occasionally I went on off a rant. Yeah, you sat there and laughed, and having outspoken people and having free thoughts to say what you want to without fear of retribution, picking on all the other stuff. Because look, I'm an old guy. What comes up comes out, and you know what? I just, like I said, give me all my sports, and it will always happen like that. So we got great comments. Mrs. enjoyed the stream. I know Lady Lisa
Well,
said
thank you.
excellent stream.
Thank you,
Uh,
Lisa.
B from O, you've been a great guest, and thank you for
Great
coming
to
on.
meet you. Thank you.
There was great hearing from you. I
Love
will
you,
say
Simply
there was
Steve.
another Brogu said something earlier that does. I respect you so much. Look forward to
Oh,
your next book.
I
Meantime, I
love you.
miss you. Hope life
Miss
is treating you well. Look forward to seeing you again.
Love you so much. Sending you a huge hug, Brogu. I've missed you so much. I've missed everyone so much. So, long live the 735 Club. You are forever in my heart. You are my tried and true friends, and I love you all and appreciate you very much.
Yes, and Mrs. says thank you to everybody Sunday evening with us. We appreciate y'all being here and enjoying the camaraderie. Thank you. I love hearing that too. I tell you, just streaming Raquel is really fun and a camaraderie, and it's wonderful. So 3 hours. USK go better time to spend than watching 3 episodes of Voyager. You gotta be careful. There are people that do like Voyager, though, West Kegel. Well, there y'all got your raspberries again. So I say 735. Yeah, I have no clue how to pronounce that, Max Redstone.
Skidamarinky dinky dink, skidamarinky doo. I
Look at
love
this.
you.
Well, look at this. Pecan deserves further condemnation. No, it's my channel. On that note, everybody, have a great evening. Thank y'all for hanging out. Really, this week, streaming is up in the air with me because of a lot of life things this week. I'm planning on doing my football show on Wednesday night at some time. Thursday night, I'm considering a late night last secret location stream. This week's going to be bouncy with me, but if you can do it, Mrs., put your chat links out there, Mrs., while you can.
Oh, and before
go
anybody goes away, can you all do me a
Yes.
favor, because it would draw a lot of traffic to Dadman's channel? If you are going to make some special recipe for Thanksgiving, would you please tweet, X, post, whatever, tag Dadman and the Dadman clan, like Mrs. Dadman or Dadman, and share your photos of your beautiful food, and that will help everyone to come together and not only show off your gorgeous food, but show what happened here tonight and give our good friend a little boost here in traffic.
Yeah. And like I said here, just to yeah, there you go. The Mrs. YouTube Mrs. Dadman Walking 55. So hey, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Morning musings with daily dose of positivity. Come by. It's so funny to listen to her laugh her head off, and I think I had to walk out there, pick her up off the floor. She has brick builds on. She putters in Fortnite on Thursday at 5. Tuesday afternoons usually at 1. This week could be a little jumped around this week because of things going on, but please go support her. Help her get to 500 subs. She's at 266, stuck on that, trying to get her monetized. But speaking of that, on top, it will be self promotion. We don't always like doing this, we don't always like doing this. But listen, if you want to support me, if you want to support her, because StreamYard has increased, and like I said earlier, it's worth the difference. We tried to look to cut the cost, but if for first the missus does everything high quality. If you can, leave a donation, monthly or one-time donations there to the missus there. Help support her because she's trying to make this work for all of us and cover costs. Because of people's donations, she was able to get a laptop to take streaming mobile. And you guys really help out, and it does help us out a lot. We do appreciate when you can, and as you can, and share the stream out, share the channels out, and help us keep growing. Phantom said, Mark D, yeah, starts about an hour, part 3 of this year's Miami Comic Con. I thought ended up the last one last week when we were on with part 4, but we shall see. Of course, there you go with Ko-Fi. Yes, exactly. Daily positive reboots. If you need to laugh, go do it. It's doubled. Yes, I know, Jill. Yeah, from like 20 or 25 to 45. Yeah, it is. And the missus has tried to find a better platform. She found one for about $19, but it was like, it limited her, didn't look right. So, yes, and exactly, Phantom Outsider. Make sure you're not unsubscribed. Happened to him earlier this week. We hear that all the time. So, yeah, it's kind of like my goodbyes here. It's like the content goes on and on and on. And it's kind of like my goodbyes go on and on and on. But hey, on that note, I got to free up Raquel. She's recovering. But thank you again for a great 3 hours a night. You guys have fun, and we will catch you next time. And if I don't talk to you before then, have a very happy American Thanksgiving and all hail Canada. All the best. Take care and good night.